No intro. No intro. There's no intro today. Football is a humbler. Football is a humbler, it says. Let's just get Cav in there as well. Let's just get some Liverpool people in here before we open it all up. All right. Someone needs to go on mute. It's probably Zaberi. All right, welcome people. Welcome. This is a Call Khan show. I think it was supposed to be the Call Khan show. It's still a Call Khan show. The link is pinned in the chat. Feel free to come in. I know I've got a few Liverpool faces. I needed backup. I'm not going to lie. I needed backup. I needed some people to talk to, so I just called in some people. Of course, thank you very much for joining me. Noor, Zuberi, and Kav. Guys, thank you so much for coming on tonight. I know it's not easy. But yeah, we have to face what we have to face. This is reality. Football is a great humbler. Guys, I know you're coming in for specific reasons. Talk about your team, talk about my team, talk about our team. Do what you got to do. It's a free-for-all. It's wild. But whatever you do, like the stream. Keep liking the stream. Keep coming in. Keep pouring in. Just keep liking the stream as you do. And then we get along real good. People in the studio, bide your time. People in the studio. We're going to get through as many people as we can because it's all about you. I'm going to just sit here and listen to you lot and take it. So I'm going to get as many of you as I can in on today. I promise you. But just bide your time. All right, Noor. How are you? Stupid question, but I've got to ask it formality.
Not so good, man. Just literally calmed down, went toilet, got cold water, splashed it on my face and thought, freaking hell, bro. How far has this team fallen since we've done it all, right? I don't know. Do you think they've taken a break since they've hit every trophy? And they thought, yeah, we've done it all.
I don't know what to say, guys. Zuberi, my brother, making your debut as part of the panel as opposed to calling. I'm sorry it couldn't be in more happy occasion, but you're still very welcome, my bro.
Yeah, no, thank you for the welcome. Under these circumstances, I had Liverpool making me happy, but I had to go in the bathroom, man, like Nurbeat says, and look at the man in the mirror, because that's where change starts, you know. Instead of coming in all grumpy, I just like, you know what, let me channel my inner happiness, which I always do when we lose, you know, because we lose, my head is down, that's not good for nobody. So tonight I'm running off the inner happiness. So if you see me smiling, I'm not happy with what's going on. I'm just happy as a human being. So
that is probably the only way to look at it right now. And of course, I've got the wonderful Cav. All right, mate. You're on mute. Yeah, no worries, man. I mean, I don't even know if we want to speak. That's probably like a sign as well, you know. Guys, yeah, where do we start? As I said, people in the studio, it's packed, it's full. I'm going to try to get as many of you as I can in on the act to say what you got to say, do what you got to do, speak on whatever you want to speak about. No holds barred tonight. We're going to go on for as long as we need to go on. We're going to go on until the wheels fall off like they seem to be falling off Liverpool. I'm telling you now, no one is going to be stopped from saying anything they want. Of course, unless you get personal and abusive and all of that business, then we're just going to dash you off. But apart from that, all systems go. Noor, Premier League, man. We can't just talk about Liverpool. We've got to talk about everything, I guess, to just sum up the weekend. Even though there's only one thing on our... It's just wild. It's fucking wild, man.
There were... I think some results went really well for us today. Chelsea shockingly lost to Brighton 4-1, and I thought, yeah, This is where the comeback begins. Little to my knowledge, this is, this was going to happen. And I said to you earlier, just before we started the stream, I said, I think 2 games have defined Liverpool. One that made us was the game at Anfield versus Barcelona when we came back and scored 4 goals. And I think today is another game that's made me realize I think it's an end of a cycle, should I say, a cycle. I'm not going to say end of Liverpool or anything like that crazy, but I think it's an end of cycle for most of the players on this team.
Zaberi, just polish that.
Yeah, so to polish that off smoothly, I think we should look at Newcastle. You know, they've arrived early to the party. And I don't know if we're leaving the party early or we never turn up to the party or what's going on, or we don't know where the address to the party is. And that's a top 4 party I'm talking about. But Newcastle is in there. And they look like they're going to be in there to be staying, and we can't find the place, Grizz. We cannot find top 4 this season. So whether it's the end of an era like Nurbeat said or not, but it's not looking good because we're usually the talk of the town in that party. And right now, the party's going on without us, and it's not looking good. And Newcastle doesn't look like they're doing anything to leave that party right now. So that's kind of how the Premier League is going, you know, to just not focus on Liverpool entirely. But it's interesting.
Interesting is one way of saying and describing it. Not inviting. It's a party, all right, but it's not a party for us. This is like the nightmare of nightmares for us guys. There's 600 of you guys in here. People are saying speech, Grizz. Nah. You're not getting no speeches out of me. 600 of you guys in here. Smash a like. Subscribe if you haven't. Let's get all the formalities out of the way. Cav, my head's hot. I guess your head was hot, and then you had to switch off your computer and come back now. Maybe it's a bit cooler now. I don't know. Take 2.
Well, first of all, can you hear me now?
We can hear you now.
Gooder. Okay. First of all, Grizz, thank you for hosting the show, because there's a lot of upset, angry Liverpool fans tonight, and the only bit of relief we get is being able to be together and talk together. Otherwise, we all just sit at home in
One
our
of those group hug
armchairs.
times. Group hug times, people. This is group hug time, man.
Exactly. It's already gone past 10 o'clock. Some people may have already gone to bed. They wouldn't have been sleeping. So hopefully this just provides people with a little bit of, call it what you will. I don't want to say therapy. We do that on Sunday.
Yeah.
But
let's just give the therapy one a couple of hours. This
is a bit of medicine.
This is medicine. Brilliant. Yeah. This is medicine. And we have to take it. Guys, I'm so sorry I've brought you in on a call-in show, but I've got to do what the call-in show says. I'm going to have to let people on. And this may get messy. This may get nasty. We may not have the answers. We may not have replies. But this is the way it goes. I'm going to read out a few super chats before we start getting everyone in. Nicholas Vargas says, time to face the music. We are in trouble. Seriously, though, where do we go from here? Lineup change, ? Simply transfers, ? Thoughts today hurt. Sums it up. Yo, what's good?
He's always here.
My brother, I love you. Klopp's in-game management is so bad. Especially when he's under pressure. Milner on when we need a goal. Laughable. Nunes having to track back so much because of the midfield tells me there's problems. El Drago, when you're chasing the game with 2 unused sub, that means only one thing: you don't trust your bench. Jesvin Jose says, Grizz, mate, you jinxed Virgil van Dijk's record. I don't know if I jinxed it or what jinxed it or who done it. All we know is all over, guys. It's all over. Okay. People are trying to get into the studio. I'm going to try to keep it moving. Let's get the first caller on. Callers, make your points, and we're going to keep it moving. I'm not going to allow anyone on for more than a couple of minutes today. So here we go. First caller into the stream. Michael, talk to me, my brother. How are you?
I'm doing wonderful today.
Of course, you're doing wonderful. The floor is yours, my brother.
I know. I just want to ask, what really happened today? Because first of all, shout out Jesse Marsh. You know I'm American, so the American pulled up today.
Yeah.
And ended the streak. He pulled up like Brock Lesnar, and BVD's streak ended like the Undertaker today. That's what happened. But I didn't talk about Jurgen Klopp because the one sub that baffled me today taking off Trent Alexander-Arnold for James Milner. I think someone said that they think that James Milner is like Mycon, according to Klopp. Like, I don't what's going on with Klopp's in-game substitutions. Like, is that 7-season curse an actual thing? Because right now it's looking like it's an actual curse. So what's going on
Guys,
with Klopp?
Michael wants to know. Michael wants to know what. Michael wants to explain, or anyone to give any kind of explanation for the Milner substitution mainly, and yeah, everything else that Michael said. Like, I'm here to host today, people. I ain't here to give my opinion. So yeah, let's go. Whoever wants to chime in on that, you free Liverpool.
Yeah, let me go first. With that, it was baffling. To be honest, like, you're chasing a game, you want to win the game, and you see Milner coming on, you see Jones coming on. And I was surprised that he didn't go for Carvalho at this game. And I was thinking, that's a person that got you the winner against Newcastle, that maybe you can start to rely on and try and build his confidence as a guy that you can use off the bench. But Milner was shockingly surprising, especially how timid Jones was at fault for that last goal as well. Just watching my man, I forgot his name, the little Mr. 29. The short guy.
Oh, Nonto.
Yeah,
Nonto on the left, sorry.
Yeah, I don't know. They were just watching him. And I'm like, Milner's usually not that passive. He's very aggressive, and if he has to bring someone down, and we get angry at that when he does. And he was just passive. And I think this passive nature has just crept into all the players now. And everyone's just waiting for someone else to do something. So yeah, Klopp himself as well. Yeah, I'm a big Klopp fan. But he has to feel this more than anyone else, and he has to now learn which players he should be able to trust in the future and which players he shouldn't.
But who can he at the minute? I mean, look at the performance of everybody. You know, who can he trust at the minute? The big boys ain't doing it for him. But just to give my part on the substitutions, I see no reason why we brought Milner on for Trent. Because I can understand in a game where Trent's being, skinned left, right, and centre, and we're clearly being gotten at down that side. It wasn't that today, and he subbed him in the 79th minute when we're chasing a goal. What does Milner bring you that Trent wouldn't going forward? It's absolutely crazy. The only thing I can think of is that Klopp wanted to make a statement to Trent. That's the only thing I can think of, is that he pulled him off to say, look, if you're not going to do the business for me, you've got no place in this team. You have to earn it. And I think that's probably the only reason he pulled him off, because tactically, I can't see any reason why you do it. With 10 minutes to go as well, it's crazy.
Just very quickly, I'm sorry. I promise not to give my opinions, but I can't help it sometimes. Sorry, Zuberi, before you give your opinion, I think. By the way, there's no way I agree with Milner coming on, right? That's first and foremost, in case people think, I'm going to make... But Trent was brutal. He wasn't getting skinned or anything like that, but brain dead wise, he was brutal. I just wanted to put it out there. Sorry, Zuberi. Sorry. Just finish off before we get the next caller in, guys.
Yeah, Grizz, I'm going to disagree with you, man.
No problem.
I agree with the Milner piece, but let's be honest, man. Trent gave Núñez a peach of an assist. Talk about putting it on a plate and then
he has the ability to do that
and spoon feed a guy. If Núñez put that in, we'll be saying a different Trent story. Cav, I disagree. I don't think that sub was about Trent. I think that sub was about who on the field can I sacrifice to appease Milner's appetite for this game. This game is on Milner's head and back. Milner needs to realize that he has nothing to offer us off the bench in a game like this. And I said this early. I said, us down or looking for a goal and bringing Milner on does nothing for us. It does nothing for us, really. I'd rather Carvalho come on and come up short than putting Milner on and come up short. Like, we really was expecting something out of Milner. And this is not the game to make the statement about Trent. This was not the game. I'd rather him slide Gomez over and bring on, I don't care if it was Nat Phillips in defense. If you're gonna make that statement, slide Gomez over, who had a shocker early in the game and late in the first half. But slide Gomez over there then, and bring on Nat Phillips. I'd rather see that than you taking off Trent, who can make a moment happen. Milner don't got those moments. So this game is on Milner's back. You know me, I'm a big critic of Klopp. This game is on Milner. You're on that bench boiling on that bench to come on and you come on and do what? 3 men, 1 kid in the corner, and that ball comes in. Not good enough.
Michael, I'm going to have to keep it moving, my brother. I know you got lots to say. We're going to catch up later on in the week. I'm sure you're going to have fun on Young Bucks. You can't fucking wait. I fucking can't wait. All right, you get out of here today. All right, peace out. Take care of yourself, my friend. Look after yourself. All right, next person. Guys in the studio, people are coming. Try to come in the studio. Have your points, have your questions. Bang, bang, bang tonight. No waiting around, man. Next person is going to be King's Football Show. Let's go. My brother, welcome to the stream. Guys, there's nearly 850 of you in here. At least, the least you can do is look at all these faces and the tears and the sadness and like it for the sake of that.
Yeah, man. Hi, how you doing, guys? It's a pleasure to be here with all of you. I know that today is a hard day being a Liverpool fan, and I understand, I support Arsenal. I've been there many times, many seasons. I know how it feels. But what I will say is this year, this is a very special season. It's a season where none of the teams is going to play consistently good all the time. We saw it today with Tottenham. They were lucky to win. We saw it with Chelsea. They lost. So there's still hope for Liverpool. I think if you guys, honestly, if you guys go and make a few signings in January, you can definitely get something out of this season. Because don't forget how good you guys were last season. Don't forget all of that. Don't forget the manager you have. Don't forget you still have players like Mo Salah who can go on and score 20, 30 goals. You still got your Fabinhos, your Robertson. Like, these players, they can still step up and play at the highest level. Yes, it doesn't look like that right now. Yes, it's hard. It's painful. It's like Liverpool. One of the things that was so hard to play against Liverpool was that you guys used to always press teams. You always used to work hard, but that seems to be gone. And that is something that you can implement. That's something, the coaching staff can look at, analyze, and see what they need to do to make sure that the players run more and work harder and press like a team. But other than that, obviously, I support Arsenal. Arsenal fans are starting to have a meltdown a bit. I don't get it. Like, we've started the season better than expected. We've started actually better than any of our title winning teams have started the season. There has to be context. You don't win every game in football, and you don't play amazingly in every game of the football. But we haven't reached a stage as a club where it's time to panic or time to get into crisis. Yes, you can criticize the managers and the players and the squad. Yes, you can say the squad is thin. You can say that in certain games the manager should have done certain substitutions. Yes, certain players, you can criticize them and tell them they can play at a higher level. But thinking overall, as a fan, we should be happy where we are right now. I don't know about you guys looking out from another club, but is that crazy for me to say that Arsenal fans should be quite happy with the season? So
we're gonna touch upon that, and we're gonna touch upon the points you made as well. Thank you very much, bro, for coming on. We just have to keep it moving today because we've got like the studio people. Really appreciate you coming on. Pleasure always speaking to you. But stay tuned. We're gonna address some of your points. Yeah. Thank you very much, my friend. Look after yourself. Yeah, look, he's more optimistic than some of us, right? A couple of signings, he says that we can go again. Obviously, Arsenal fans panicking, but they're going to realize what it's like to try to keep up with this Man City machine, right?
Yeah, I think one of the points that he raised is there's similarities between the two sides. It's about expectation, isn't it? That's the thing. Arsenal fans should be really happy with where they are and the style of football they've played for most of this season. I know the past couple of games, 2-3 games, they've tailed off a little bit, but they got the results, and they just need to, manage their expectation and not get too carried away and enjoy the moment they're in. You know, we've had it for such a long time. But the similarities with us is that we know this team can do better. We know these players can do better, and we're just not seeing it. So it's killing us. And I hope Arsenal don't get to that stage. But it's the expectation. It's the expectation that will kill you, because if you fall short of that, it's upsetting to see, you know.
And his points about Liverpool.
Remind me, Grizz, what was that? We'd need two signings.
He just needs a couple of signings. He's more optimistic than us. I mean, I don't know. Noor Zuberi, you want to say anything on that before we bring in other callers?
So on the points on Liverpool, I disagree with it because yeah, there's transfer talk and expectations, but the biggest expectation that we should anticipate is players leaving. And I don't think none of those guys that their contracts are running out is going to be leaving in January. So if they don't leave in January, it's really tough for us to find their replacement in that window. So it's going to be left till summer, unfortunately. So that's why I know it's kind of rough for us coming back with a few transfers. And as far as his Arsenal point, I mean, Bilal's probably on the beach right now, just, anticipating a good result and a good moment, because they're in a good moment. You can't think about when it goes wrong, and that's what I do best. Because you know me, we're good, and I'm like, yeah, we're gonna fall off in the end of the year. That was my talk, and we're doing it now. So yeah, don't be like me. Don't be a bunch of Zubiris over there, man. Enjoy the moment, and you guys will be fine.
Don't be Don't be a bunch of Zubiris. That's a line. Don't be a bunch of Zubiris, man.
The one thing is, the reason why Arsenal fans are pessimistic is they're like I don't know, how do you call it? Like a victim of trauma. They can't trust their club at the moment. So once they build that momentum, as my man said, then they start to have better expectation of the team, and then they can start trusting us. While with us, it's different. We were like thinking, nah, you know what? We'll get back on track next game, and it doesn't happen. We'll get back on track this time. Our season starts next week. It's not happening for us, and we're like shell shocked at the moment. And with regards, I don't think Liverpool do much business in the January window, as we've seen. We had like a crazy crisis 2 seasons ago with no centre backs available, and what did we get? We got like a guy.
This is worse, though. This is worse. Very quickly, guys. Very quickly. We ain't got time to dwell on it too long. Just a very quick yes or no. Is this worse?
Yeah.
Zuberi?
Yeah.
All three of us unanimously. Me 4. This is worse. Wow. Okay.
We have no excuse this time. That's why.
Yeah. Next caller. Amika's still in the building. Amika, hope you're there, my brother, with your point. Welcome to the stream, my friend.
Grizz, can you hear me?
I can hear you, my bro, loud and clear. Talk to us, Kazi. What you want to say?
Number one, big fan of the show. Been watching. I find this to be one of the better Liverpool channels in terms of keeping it honest, keeping it real. So
humbled, absolutely humbled. Thank you, sir.
But yeah, I think today's a day where you just have to keep it real on Liverpool and what's going on here, because I think the biggest question today was, where's Khanage, man? And I know you've echoed this, and that's another reason why I love this channel in terms of keeping it real, where I'm like, you're one of the only channels that I've heard mention like the significance of not having Khanage there this year. Like, I think personally that's our biggest miss, and we're feeling it in our defense. Like, Virgil, yes, he's done it. He's done the job for us for however many years, but I feel like having Khanage there, who's kind of a similar build, similar mold as him, it kind of gave him that energy. It gave him that push, and it gave him. Khanage was a guy who people talk about Virgil, and he doesn't pounce on tackles. He kind of floats, and it's very cute, is what I would call his defense sometimes. And Khanage is of a similar build as him, but he would actually dive into those tackles. Like, if you remember the Champions League final, like, to me, Khanage was our man of the match, right? And okay, Khanage was on the bench for our Champions League game. I thought guaranteed he's coming in the week. We're gonna be. I was certain our defense was gonna look completely different. So seeing Gomez there again, and like as expected, another mistake from Gomez. I don't think that was a surprise for me, or should be a surprise for anybody else. When someone shows you who they are, you should believe them. And Gomez, I feel at this point has showed us who he is. Trent, I feel like it's in his head now. Like the England coach gave up on him. The season's not going well for Liverpool for him. you can see it. Like Trent's someone that I've also defended quite a bit, just because of how much he does for us from an attack.
We all have, bro. We all have.
Yeah, but I feel like this year is just a year again. I can't defend what I'm seeing from Trent. Just like the body language, it's obvious that it's in his head. It's clear. He needs some competition. He needs some time away, and I feel like it makes sense. Like, as someone who came into our team as an 18, 19-year-old, like, he's done it all. He's won it all. I don't think he's ever gone through a patch where people have told him, like, you're not as good as maybe you think you are.
Great point.
Right? Mm-hmm. Like, you need to actually sit on that and be like, yo, I need to actually get better. Like, I'm actually out of this team now. This team has set a new standard, thanks in part to the work I've done at a young age. And I'm not meeting that standard anymore. So I'm now out of this team that I've helped create, and I need to get better. So even I was looking forward to seeing a young Calvin Ramsey come in at some point. I get it, he's young, but Trent did a lot of what he did for us at a young age. So I don't think that's, especially if you have the base of Virgil and Konate behind him, I think that should free up someone like a Calvin to come in there and do the business for us. So that's number one for me. I think Konate was a big miss for me, and I think Klopp's going to have to explain that. If he was healthy to be on the bench in the Champions League game, I don't understand why he's on the bench this game, me personally. The formation, of course, I don't think was the best. But again, as everyone stated, like, the team's just, at the end of the day, the team's not playing at the level they're playing. And I don't want to turn my back on these players, because if we look at the last 5 years, they've won it all for us, right? And I think it's only, if you look at the style of play that we play with that high press and that energy, it's just not sustainable. And I've always felt that as a fan. I'm like, I love watching City play because that's the sort of football I grew up on. Like, I'm a big believer in, like, when I'm assessing two teams, I look first at the midfield. Whoever has the control of that midfield is going to have the best chance to win. And in a lot of games, like, our midfield leaves us wanting there. And that sort of, I feel like we need to adjust our system so it's more sustainable over let's say a 60-game season, because that's the standard we've set, right? We want to compete in all competitions, compete for the two big ones. We need a style of play that, yes, in bigger games, let's press, let's go hard, but we need to be able to have styles of play in these games where we're playing the Leeds or the Nottingham, where we can just pick them apart, score, sit back and relax and move on to the next game. Like, it doesn't make sense for us to be pressing at that intensity every single game. It's just not sustainable. So I know, Grizz, you've talked a lot about Fabinho. I'm a big Fabinho fan, but I can't even blame Fabinho, because even last year I was like, yo, every game he's on the team sheet. No matter what game I can't remember when Fabinho actually sat last year. So seeing him this year really shouldn't be that hard for us to understand why he looks so off of it. He's just, the minutes are just, it's not sustainable. So for me, my takeaway is Klopp has a lot of answering to do, in my opinion, and I'm a big fan. But to come out, and it was a slap in the face to me of the fans when he said, what more do we need in this midfield at the start of the year? And that's just because anyone with any sense, any football sense, could see that our midfield needed a refresh. And he could obviously see that because he went for Chouameni. So to just put all our eggs in that basket and not get anyone, to me, made no. Someone had to come in to say, and truthfully, I think what should have happened is Fabinho and Hendo should just be rotating that 6. Like, Hendo, the discussion should have been had at the start of the season. We're gonna manage both of your minutes by both of you rotating this position. So you're both gonna be semi-fresh. If we're winning, one of you will come off. None of you are gonna play. Some games you'll play 90, but for the most part, you two are gonna split minutes here, and you're both gonna stay fresh. Because clearly they're both over the hill in a sense, even though Fabinho is not even 30 yet, which is strange, but just the minute, it's too much. Harvey Young, he's coming up. I'm a much bigger Carvalho fan, me personally. Like, he shows me that, like, I feel like if we gave him the minutes Harvey's getting, I think we can get way more out of that kid. Like, he has it's just that small, like, touch of class and brilliance that you can't, in football, you can't put it into words. You just have to see it. He has that. Like, he's a signing I was really looking forward to this year. And when we lost Diaz and when we lost Jota, I thought for sure we were going to see Carvalho take that step. So again, Klopp has to answer. He's someone that should easily be grooming now on that left side with that hole in our team, right?
Amika, I'm gonna have to. Unfortunately, I'm gonna have to stop you there because we've got so many. You've made some amazing points. I've been nodding with everything that you're saying because I pretty much agree. We're gonna discuss a couple of the points that you've made, my bro. Thank you very much for calling in. Thank you very much for speaking so nicely about my channel as well. Hope to speak to you soon, man. Look after yourself.
I'm gonna call back in for sure. So
100%, my brother. Welcome. Thank you. Selection. Let's talk about the selection then, because Amike made some amazing points. The Khanage one, I don't know. Speak on it. There's no order, bro. I ain't looking at you lot. Yeah, you speak. Speak.
Yeah. Nah. I wanna jump in because I think I'll be the only one that disagree with that guy. Appreciate.
That's three callers. That's three disagreements. This is why I have you today.
Yeah.
This is why I got you.
Yeah. My man came in and he was just. I think he did like 10 minutes on Trent, and then he did like 5 minutes defending Fabinho, and I didn't hear anything about Gomez. This game wasn't about Trent. So for everyone who's thinking Trent, just drop that today because I didn't even understand why he came off the field, first and foremost. And as far as his being in his head,
I thought he was dead.
That's fair. No, that's fair. The point he made about Trent being in his head, that's the only point he said I agree with, because this is my perspective on Trent. When he came in, we all knew him to be like a guy that can go in the midfield. And if Klopp can look me in the eye and Trent can deny this, whatever. But I believe he was promised midfield in a year or two, or in a couple years when he first took the right back position. And because of how well he's done at right back, they just never fulfilled that. We're definitely lacking in midfield. We're definitely lacking like a De Bruyne-esque type of player in there. I'm not saying Trent is that guy, but I strongly believe when Trent first took right back, it was a case of, I remember Stephen G started in the right back. We kind of slid him in there, then he moved on to the midfield. I 100% will die on that point. I thought Trent was promised the midfield position, and he's never getting it, and there's no path to him getting in it. And also, there's no path of getting a quality right back. We've never gotten a quality right back to take Trent out of that. So I think that's even a slap in Trent's face. As the scouts of the team and as the guy with the mural, and bro, we all lord Trent for what he did in the right back position, but we cannot expect Trent to be a right back for 16 years at Liverpool. That would be criminal and a spit in Trent's face. And to even come on and say, oh, Trent, bro, none of the goal was really Trent's fault, Gomez ran out there, did an amazing challenge, won the ball, and did an outside the foot pass that was miscalculated. And we end up in the mud. We're down 1. The
miscalculated. See, you're being. I don't understand your thinking.
With the pass, the pass was outside the foot.
You're defending Trent, who was dead, not his fault. But now you're defending Gomez, who was literally at fault for the first goal.
No.
Show the same energy for Gomez.
No. But
don't say miscalculated.
That was a dead pass.
Oh, it was fucked.
He didn't look, He
didn't look once, but that's what
I'm saying. It's miscalculated because he didn't look.
You're being nice. No, you're being nice. I want you to be mean, Zuberi. I want you to be mean.
Okay. No. But you're fair though. But you do get what I'm saying though.
I get what you're saying, but you're saying Trent, and Trent's dead, man. He wasn't at fault, but he needs to be off the pitch because he was crap. I agree with I disagree with the player that they brought on. I agree with that. I disagree. Milner it could have been Ox. Give us something in the last few minutes. It could have been anyone. I even agree with your earlier shout about put Gomez out there, and then bring on Konate maybe or something. But I mean, Noor, I don't know if you want to come in on Gomez, the goal. We haven't even touched on the goal. I don't even want to talk about the goals.
Gomez, for me, I've decided maybe that since the Napoli game that he lacks a fundamental key aspect you need to be a top-class centre back.
What is it?
Aggression. He has no aggression towards, like, you have to take pride in defending. You have to take pride in you're not getting past me. You have to take and not make it like, and don't try and base your game on Van Dijk. Van Dijk is a unique specimen who has that nature of being relaxed, but can catch you up and can push you off the ball subtly, but he has the power. But you cannot be like Van Dijk. You need to be like, his game should have been based on. We played Ajax right on Wednesday. Timber. You saw Timber coming out and chasing Firmino wherever he went. Did not let Firmino turn at any point. Did not let Salah turn at any point. This guy showed aggression, and like I'm a big fan, and he's a United player. But Martinez, this guy, he would not let you breathe, and you need someone like that, and you need that yin and yang type of defense, one that's relaxed and one that's showing you the aggression. And Gomez doesn't show me that, and I'm hoping Konate is the guy that does come in and eventually, when he's settled fully into the team, is the one that can bring that to the team. And so Gomez, I think we need to. Honestly, I tweeted it a little bit earlier, and I said I think we need to upgrade on him. Whether he becomes a backup, but I think we do need to upgrade on him.
But that's the thing.
Just
he is.
Before you go, Cav, exactly. I'll let you go for the next few minutes, whatever you want to say on that situation. If we don't invest in January, it's 9th place FC. Shabazz says more released books than good performances this season. It's running it close. It's running it close.
It's not far off.
It's not far off. And what he says, in 25% of our games, we have let in a goal first 5 minutes. We have won 4 games, meaning we have not won in 8 games. This is a top 10 fight, guys. Be honest. And Nakib says, no, so Grizz, get someone in that ain't a Liverpool fan. I'm not controlling. I'm not picking and choosing who I'm bringing in. It's in order. There's about 23 people waiting to come on. So I'm not restricting it to Liverpool fans only. Even the non-Liverpool fans want to talk about Liverpool. So I'm not controlling it today, guys. I'm letting everyone on. Sorry, Cav.
Gomez. I think in a lot of fans' opinion, he is 4th choice centre-back. You got Virgil number 1, and then people will usually pick between Ibu and Matip. For me, it's Ibu, right? Gomez is 4th choice, right? He's had massive injuries. He comes into the odd game. Sometimes he plays right back. Sometimes he plays centre-back. Where is he meant to get confidence from? He knows he's not Virgil's first choice.
You made this point.
Exactly.
You made this point,
He is not going to be the commanding centre-back you want him to be unless he is given 10 games to play in a row, and he won't get it at Liverpool. So he's always going to be a player that believes in his abilities, and everyone, Klopp and the guys around him, love him. He's a great member of the squad, and they will tell him how good he is, and he will step on the pitch, and as soon as he makes one mistake, he will doubt himself. Today, he made one mistake. It was so early on in the game. Fine. We can easily score goals against this Leeds team, or so we should have. But what happened? He gave the ball away time after time after time after that. And I'm sorry. I love the guy for him personally as a person. But as a Liverpool centre-back, unfortunately, I just don't think he's not going to cut it. Unfortunately, he's not.
Facts.
Anyone want to come in there before we move off to the next subject and get the next caller in?
I want to ask you a question, Grizz, because I love your energy and passion earlier. Me and you and Steve had a convo on this same show, and I was telling you about taking Trent off because of his lack of effort. And you both disagreed with me. And I'm like, I'm pretty sure that was a good point, because you can't have a player not giving you 100% on the field. You have to take them off, right? That's what you're basically saying right now then, based on the effort you're seeing on the pitch and why you're saying Trent was dead in this game. And that's what you're saying also about Gomez, because when we're talking about effort and fight, I'm not seeing it from a lot of players.
I hear you. That is such a difficult question. It's a great question. I don't think it was a lack of effort from Gomez. I just think once he made that mistake, his head was gone. As Cav says, he kept misplacing passes. I want to know, I don't know if one of you can dig up his pass accuracy today. I don't even know if you can narrow it down to that first 45 minutes, because that must have been horrendous and horrific to look at. With Trent Zuberi, this is my point. Trent, something's wrong with Trent. I don't know, guys. Pure speculation. But he don't look right. He's not moving right. The body language ain't there. It's so easy for us to just sit there and say he's not trying. The guy's a fucking Liverpool fan. He's probably more of a Liverpool fan than all of us. Because he's from the city, he's born up there, family roots, he's got more allegiance to Liverpool than certainly us. But come on, guys, I don't know. What did you see out there? No, did you see? Yeah. I mean, I don't want to say he's not trying. I don't want to say he's not giving 100%, but it doesn't look it right now at all.
Yeah, no, definitely. He does look like a deer in headlights. You see him like he's looking at the game and you don't see like someone that's all there.
Oh, it's mad.
Yeah,
I'm glad everyone else is seeing this, and I'm not looking like I'm not.
I saw it. Especially like even any activity on the bench, I see him just like, where's your focus? Where's your
focus?
Like, where's your focus in the game? And I don't see it as well. It's like, yeah, you're right. I don't know what it is. I can't explain it unless you talk to the guy, but there is something there that's missing.
What I don't. The thing is, Grizz, if we look at his career path, comes into the Liverpool team, does brilliantly well, goes on to win every trophy he possibly can by the age of 23. He's labelled as the best right back in the world. Everyone's clamouring for him. He gets his situation with Southgate, not in the England squad, all that conversation around him. He starts making mistakes, or I say starts, he's always had a mistake in this game by switching off. They start to get highlighted. He's now being asked to do different things this season because we see him roaming around the pitch everywhere, which we've not seen before. The team's not playing well. Every single player is performing below par. So he's now just looking around going, I don't know where I fit. He's at a stage in his career where he's got to decide what he's going to do moving forward. He's won everything, right? But he needs to go from a boy to a man. He's a seasoned player. He needs to decide what player he's going to be. And if it's just that, I think there's something else going on because the attitude's crazy, right? But if it's not, and it's purely the fact that he just can't find his game at the minute, why ain't we seeing anger? Why ain't we seeing annoyance? Why isn't he throwing his top down on the ground and stuff? He's just accepting it all. He's just like, I'm not asked. And someone put a name in the chat, right? And I really hope he doesn't go this way. But Dele Alli was the same. And I'm telling you now, if Trent needs to be very careful because he only needs to look at his England teammate of a few years back in Dele Alli and go, whoa, if I don't put my ideas up, that's the career path, and it ain't a good one.
People are saying today's not on Trent, so why are we focusing on Trent? It just come up in a conversation, people. We're not focusing on Trent. You know, I got Zuberi on for a reason. Zuberi hits the spots, the hot spots. You understand? So when Zuberi brings up a topic, you know it's going to be hot. So blame Zuberi for this topic. It was not on the agenda. Just a couple more super chats before we let in. The next caller is going to be Rushi. Guys in the studio, I'm trying to get as many as you can. It's going to be just a couple of minutes each, please. So have your points and questions ready, whoever you want to ask. Amir says, this poor start to the season is on Klopp for loyalty and on frugal spending group for underinvestment. Can't disagree. Can't disagree at the moment. Code Command says, we are a mid-table club for the next decade or so. Can very much disagree. But I understand the frustration and the anger and everything. KM1365 says, I don't think Trent was the main issue. We agree. Fabinho was.
Agreed.
The main CDM got ran past so easily and we got outrun by 11 kilometers. Can someone confirm that? Because if that's true, Lord have mercy. I don't know what to say right now, what is going on with our team. If that's true, wow. Thank you for the super chat, bro. Yo, what's good, my bro? I love you, bro. Something I noticed since last season. I think we make every game a spectacle to watch, literally every game. You just know teams will create chances and making the game more entertaining for rivals. Today was wild, guys. There was never any control. There was never any play where we looked to slow the tempo down. Leeds had as much, if not more, shots on target than us at home. Can you explain that, guys?
That was shocking. I think I don't think we're built for the formation. The formation, or having these massive gaps in between the midfielders, would need like athletically capable midfielders. And we've got a slowish Harvey Elliott. We've got a slow Fabinho, and we've got a slow Thiago, trying to cover so much ground. And apart from Elliott, the other two are not of the youngest. And I've got a theory with Fabinho. Fabinho has never been the fastest. So any slowdown will look a lot worse than it would have been for someone that's more athletically conditioned or athletically gifted. So he's slowed down a little bit, but it looks far worse now because those inches is what are made massive in the elite game. In the elite game, there's no sympathy. So
the margins of error are slight. If you've slowed down by half a second, that's that half a second Brendan Aronson's whisk the ball off your feet.
That's exactly it. Reaction time, and all sorts. And with Harvey Elliott, he's lacking athleticism as well. With him, he more suits like a possession-based football team and not like a pressing, like heavy metal style that Klopp likes, where you close down every angle, you counter.
But we've tried to become that, but it's so far off it. We brought in Thiago, we brought in Elliott into the team. We tried to become that, but then we've suddenly brought Nunes up the other end, who's nothing like that. It's a bit scrambled right now.
Exactly. I don't know. Maybe there was like plans to really shape the Liverpool team with Chouameni and Nunes, and then start to get like a different style of play from them, but it got cut short, and we're feeling it this season.
Bro, guys, people in the studio, there's no point you just messaging me like mad in the private chat. I'm trying to get as many of you as I can. You can imagine I'm hot, and you just keep messaging me like, am I next? I've been waiting. Everyone's waiting, bro. Everyone wants to speak, and we're going to try and get through as many as we can. So stop it, because I'm just going to kick you out. In fact, I'm kicking one guy out. Anyway, yeah, I have to. It's like you know, I'm trying to manage 1,100 people in here, and there's I don't know, a few hundred likes only. Can you smash the likes at least for our tears and for our sadness? Brother Zuberi is making his debut today. Look at his face. He ain't here to fuck about today. And you guys are disrespecting by not even liking the stream. I feel it's stupid, Nicholas Vargas says. But could it be the World Cup? My man HKN Music is in the building. He says, Grizz told you about Nunes tax. Oh, don't blame this on Nunes, bro. You didn't want to listen. You guys miss Mane. No, we don't, bro. We don't. There's so much more. Yeah, I know you guys want to go. I'll let you go 1 second. Go on that. Keep those. Whoever wants to pick up on the super chat, pick up on it. Messi FC says the lowest tackle rate in the EPL and the most misplaced in the league. Injury crisis every other year.
Yeah, that's where people are coming for Fab and Klopp.
Oh shit. Okay, then you can go on that. Pisco21 says, how can a big club like Liverpool have a 37-year-old midfielder as a backup right back? Lack of spending cost you. Go. Who wants to go on these comments?
Loyalty tears, I call them loyalty tears of Klopp, because Klopp is doing what I'm doing, deflecting off the defensive issues and problems today, and saying the issue is up top, not finishing our chances. Which, to be fair, there was some good chances, but we know there's two ways to win a game: concede less or score more. That's how football works. So if you're not conceding, we can walk away with a 0-0 draw. Then, if they're up front and doing the business. So as long as you score a goal and you let in more goals than you scored, I mean, that's kind of where the issue is. So the focus has to be on defense, unfortunately. And like I said, Fab, I need to see the stats on Fab, because I don't know.
Why you want to do that? Why do you want to see the stats on Fab? You're going to go wild and mad if you see the Fab stats. Why do you want to do that?
The reason why I want to do
you
that,
like pain? Are you mad?
Hey, Zaviri, there's no stat that tells you how many times someone ran past Fabinho. Oh my God.
I'm sure there must be.
No, but see, that's the problem then, because when Pepe dribbled past Van Dijk, we had a stat saying he was on dribble, passable, or whatever. We was waving that stat.
It's easy to count to one, though, isn't it?
So you're saying it's easy to count when it's one, and it's hard to count when it's 10,000. So
that's the point.
We need to let Fab go.
Yeah. All right, people are calling for next caller. Look at this, shouting at me, question like capital letters, next caller. All right, next caller. We're gonna have Rishi in the building. Rishi, welcome to the stream, my friend. Sorry to keep you waiting. You know how it is tonight. Go for it, my friend. What do you want to speak about?
For me personally, I want to talk about the tactical nuances at Liverpool. Now, I think, and hear me out, this is a massive shout, right? This is a massive shout. I don't think Jurgen Klopp is tactically, what's the word? Nuanced,
astute enough?
No, yeah, astute, perfect. I don't think his decision making is poor. It's poor, and that's being kind. I think someone touched on it a minute ago. If you don't have two athletic midfielders, or at least capable midfielders that are going to put themselves about in a midfield too, so we're just, for the sake of it, we'll say we're playing 4-4-2. There's like different variations. Like diamond, whatever. Take my point. If you don't have athleticism in that too, you're going to get overrun. And we saw it today. We were getting overrun by a 3-man midfield. Brendan Aronson today had an absolute field day. And that's another thing as well. If a team's playing 4-2-3-1 like Leeds have been doing all this season, why do you play 4-4-2? You know, it's the basics of football. You know what I mean? Everyone knows that, you know, the reason why people started using 4-2-3-1 is because, well, that cam now has, you know, room to operate within a 4-4-2. So you've got to really question what we're doing tactically. And I know that obviously we're playing so many games and it's hard to implement these changes. But surely, you know, there's got to be some performance analysts at Liverpool looking at the Leeds side and maybe hinting to Jurgen Klopp, like, maybe we should do this. Maybe we should stick a man on Brendan Aronson. Maybe we should just limit that space. We were getting played through the middle of the park. Like, what
every part of the park, Rushi, we were getting outplayed from every area of the park. Like, you made some good points on there. I want Noor's opinion on that first. The major take of the major point of your take was the Klopp tactically.
I don't think he's tactically nuanced as like a Pep Guardiola, a Hansi Flick, an Ancelotti. You know, these are managers that have pedigree when it comes to changing, playing different ways, revolutionizing the game. Jurgen Klopp's gegenpress is, I don't want to say it's outdated because I think that depends on the personnel. And I think it's unfair to say it's because I don't want to be reactionary, by the way, because we've got to remember as well, Jurgen Klopp has revolutionized the game as maybe not as much like an Arsene Wenger, but you know what I mean? He's done things for the sport.
He revolutionized our game.
He revolutionized our game.
We can say that. Just a quick shout out to Just Joe in the Football. What did me and Cav tell you? We told you were so positive about Liverpool going to smash you, and we said it's a wild season. Joe, congratulations. Thoroughly deserved win. Congratulations, Joe. Hate to say it, but you guys deserved it. Absolutely. Big up yourself, Joe. Big up. Sorry. So, guys, take it away. Some brilliant points by Rushi.
Yeah, no, Rushi made really good points. Klopp, I don't think he's as detail oriented as Pep Guardiola. Pep Guardiola wants to control every aspect of the game, while Klopp wants to create havoc within the game by using the counter pressing specifically. And Liverpool this season have been abysmal with their counter pressing. You see, let's say a long ball, the second balls we've not been winning at all due to the massive gaps in midfield between each player. They find it hard. Today I was watching Thiago. Even Thiago had like a decent game, but he couldn't get from one place to the other without then tiring and then going again. He had to stop and just start jogging. And I was like, we can't do this counter pressing with this midfield. It's impossible.
No.
If Thiago's surrounded with like athletic players, then you could do it because he could read the game really well and he can position himself in situations where he can intercept and boom, we can go on the counter attack. But he was like, you saw him, he was going from place to place and he was like, I can't do this, guys.
And you saw it when Curtis Jones came on. It changed the midfield three. We had a bit of nuance in midfield. We had a bit of a presence there, and Curtis Jones was maybe able to skip past a couple of people, and you could see that Fabinho and Thiago could move along with that, and they were able to push up the field. Now, if you ask me, that should have been the plan from the get-go. That should have been you coming up against an athletic team, you're playing a 2v3 in midfield. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't. This it's logic. You know what I mean? It's not even about detail. Like Pep Guardiola can analyze the game as much as he wants. We're talking about that basic levels of details, but analyzing teams and capitalizing on their weaknesses. We capitalize on the weaknesses through some long balls over the top. Trent put one in behind. Nunes should have scored one or two. That's the level of analysis that needs to go in through the whole team. Mm-hmm. It's a problem. It's a problem. Like how many times have we played? Go on.
Yeah, but what Zabiri said comes into it because Klopp, although it can be a strength a lot of the time because he can motivate the players. Yeah. He has a loyalty and an affinity to these players that's actually lifted Liverpool back to where it belonged, like in the upper echelons of the European and the Premier League game. So he has a loyalty, and maybe that's what's clouding some of his judgment. And trying to trust these players a lot more than he should. And there should be like a ruthless side to him. And that keeps people on their toes. because if they think that their position is in danger, they have to up their game and try and impress him all the time. You know what I mean?
Are we saying Klopp's gone soft? Is that what we're saying?
I think,
I said that a long time ago.
Have you guys not noticed? Like even now, I was just watching his press conference. Even though I couldn't hear him, he's smiling a lot more. He's not as pissed off as he used to be.
Before we go
sometimes he would swear in interviews. I don't think he's doing that anymore.
I think he needs to do a lot of swearing, or I don't even know what he needs to do. Maybe he's smiling like we were smiling. I know Zuberi and Cav want to come on. Rushi, tremendous call again, my friend. You've made some brilliant points. Thank you very much for being patient and listening. And hope to get you on again. Feel free to call in whenever you want, my friend. Look after yourself. Take care. All right. Yeah, he's made some points there, guys.
Can I just quickly ask you guys a question?
Mm-hmm.
At Dortmund, Klopp, all his best players were being picked up. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And now Klopp got to keep his best players. Is this affecting him saying, look, I want to rely more on these players that I said that should be signed up for longer term contracts? And is this biting him now?
Cav Zuberi.
Yeah, that's what I was seeing when we're going in for the quad. And I stopped smoking because I thought maybe I'm in a different dimension and I'm the only one seeing it. So now everybody's seeing it. I'm like, okay, it's really real. It brought us so close. We're almost second. We're going to all these finals, but we can't pull it off because of the way he's picking people, the lack of challenge in certain positions on the field. It's like, bro, Trent wasn't a right back. So that's a department we've been lacking for years. Think about this. For years, it brought us success, but that was a department we've been lacking for years. Salah came in and displaced Mane from right wing, and we've never had a proper right wing backup since. So these are the things I was seeing, and that's what's bringing us so close, but it's not getting us there. It's just not.
Mm-hmm. I'll just to address Rishi's point, and he made the perfect point, because Klopp has, and we know this because he's proved it, he can build a club, he can build a team, he can build a way of playing, right? We've seen this, but it stayed the same, right? And you need to evolve. And this is the first time Klopp is being asked to evolve, in my opinion. He always makes tweaks. He always talks about making in-house football decisions, and training is our transfers and all this rubbish. They always make tweaks, but the philosophy's always been the same. 4-3-3, get the ball up the pitch, press high up, win the ball back, and create chaos when you do, because the opposition will be out of position, this and that. It's the same fundamentals since he's been here, okay? But now we haven't got the players, we haven't had the recruitment, we haven't refreshed, and he's now being asked the questions of create this next generation of the team. And at the minute, I have to be completely honest, he's failing, because this season, right, he went with that same philosophy with different players in the squad now, okay? Some due to Mane leaving and Minamino and Origi leaving, who were bench players, played their part, and lack of investment. But right, he went with the same system. He changed it of late to 4 up top, which, let's be honest, isn't rocket science when you've not got many midfielders. You switch from 3 midfielders to 2. I could have told you to do that, right? He changed it in Ajax, and we spoke about that. If anyone's seen our review of that game. And he kept it tight, he kept it narrow, and he went with a diamond. Today, he went with a diamond again. But every single time, bar Ajax, it's not worked. So at the minute, he isn't proving, and I hate to say it because I love the man. He's given me everything as a Liverpool fan. But he's not proven that he can change and he's adaptable. And I tell you what's key, and you touched upon it when you said it, even his in-game, he's getting angry, but not throughout the game. If you watch Pep, right, and you watch the game and you think everything's going fine, he's on the sideline going ballistic. He's crying at his players. You're not doing this right. You're not doing this right. You're not moving this right. Klopp's not doing that anymore. He's just kind of looking at his team and thinking, oh, they'll get me out of it because they've done it before. And he's just not doing the little intricacies, the little tweaks. And I don't know if he's just got this system in his head and he's thinking, you know what, the players, they're good enough. They've proved it. They've been loyal to me. I'll be loyal to them, and I'll just trust them that they'll get us out of it. But at the minute, he's lost he's lost what his key thing was, and his motivation. The players are not motivated. You cannot tell me in that game against Leeds today that team was 100% motivated, because if they were, they'd have wiped the floor with Leeds. So he's losing. He's not answering questions, and he needs to start answering questions.
Guys, still 1,000 of you in here, and still not even half the likes. So everyone just tap the like button before we go. Again, Zuberi, I don't know if you heard most of that or less of that, or if you want to add something or subtract.
Yeah, I'm here. I heard it. Yeah, that's like I said. These are the things I was seeing. You know, I'm not happy we're seeing it now. I'd rather I was wrong, but I wasn't wrong. His in-game adjustment and management, as far as switching up what he started with, it leave a lot to be desired, man. He's just one-dimensional, and we're saying, is he a fan and just been standing there and watch the game passing by, or he's a manager who just his favoritism is killing us and the style of play. It's really hard to back him in certain department as far as can he build a team and keep that team going. I use an analogy on Coppish Calling where I said, if Liverpool is a house and FSG is the foundation that the house can be built upon, Klopp did all the legwork and build up the sides, but we need a guy to come put the roof on. He's taken his foundation as high as it can go. We need a guy to come and put the roof on. So until the roof goes on, we're going to be leaking goals within the first 5 minutes. That's unheard of. That's actually a crazy stat against us, you know. We're just leaking. We're really leaking, and that analogy is spot on. He hasn't put the roof on Liverpool. So the foundation, the sides, the walls, the windows look good, but we're leaky this season.
We are indeed. Guys, I'm going to get the next caller in, which is Quasi. Actually, before I get Quasi, let's just read out a couple of the super chats. HKN comes back at me and says, Mane was the person who got Liverpool going. He was always more important to Liverpool than Salah, but we live in a goals and assist era, and you guys picked the wrong guy to give the money. Fabinho is the same age as Ronaldo. No, he's not. He's younger.
He must mean like in his real.
He must have Fabinho's passport. He knows when Fabinho was born.
Yeah, no, I've asked to see his passport, man. You know what I mean? I'm going through my contacts to see if I can get anyone hold of his passport because I want to check. I want to check his date of birth and all that kind. Oh man, man, my head's hurting. You lot don't know, yeah? My head's hurting right now. You know that, guys. My head is actually hurting. Messi FC says, what's worse, us needing a midfield overhaul or teams knowing we need a midfield overhaul? Who's ready for more propaganda in the summer? Yeah, don't even go down that route, man. Nilok Powell says, no point of sentiments when you want to stay at the top, mate. I'm sorry, Fab, Hendo, etc. would not be in this team if it was Pep. I agree. I've said this before. I agree. Pep is ruthless, man. Pep is ruthless. Klopp is yet to show me that ruthlessness. Simple as.
What I would say though, Grizz, is that loyalty also played its part in giving us the success that we had.
No doubt.
It's just that now he needs to. You keep loyal with some players, absolutely. You can't bin off all 25-man squad, but he now needs to change and he needs to be more ruthless. Definitely.
Scouse African sending a super chat, but I don't think your comments are attached. Just send in a normal comment and I'll make sure I read it out. Guys, let's get the next caller in. Quasi, welcome to the stream, my friend.
Hey, what's going on, guys?
I don't even know if you want to ask us what's going on.
Man, I'm gonna go quick because I know you got like 50 people waiting.
Yeah, bro.
Number one, today I come here. I usually don't put blame on people, but today I'm gonna do it. You know, it's therapy. I have to let it out, right? One, I blame the owners. One reason why is because they're too loyal. They've made Klopp way too comfortable. Right now, Klopp is way too powerful at the club. And knowing Henry, how he operates at Red Sox, is if you are loyal to him, he will return the same thing back. And right now is make sure Klopp gets everything. So in terms of when we need personnel, he says, I don't want this guy. Nobody challenges him. Somebody will be like, oh, no, that's not true. Well, let's start from the first one. Mane was not the first. Salah was not. Robo, he didn't even want Robo. Edwards pushed it on him. And at the time, he had just got there, so Edward was able to, had a little bit more power to them. Julian can't tell Klopp anything right now. So with me, for that to fix, FSG needs to bring somebody in who's going to be the guy who's taking charge of everything and let Klopp just focus on managing the players, just like what he did when he first got there, right? Number two, club loyalty. You guys have talked about it. It's like a parent who doesn't discipline his kid, and then when they turn 16, they want to discipline him now. That's too late. And all the players right now are letting him down. So there's been a lot of comments that have been coming out that players are literally tuning him out. During the game, when he's shouting at them, VVD is looking at the other way because he doesn't want to have that eye-to-eye contact. Trent tuned him out last year. This is just the ramification what has been going on now. That I'm very scared with Trent because you're very right. It has a Dele Alli situation going on right now. It's like they're going to this dark place and they can't come out, you know? So these players are letting him down because there's something that he did. And it's true, Cav, again, when the system that he built also, there was a story after the Ajax game where Robo said, I saw Nunes being sad and I went to comfort him and say, hey, what's going on? I said, I'm sad because of the ball I missed. But Robo's like, don't worry, I got you. Next one is coming. 3 minutes later, bam, go. That is the opposite of the loyal thing that Klopp have built. Players are very together. All of them are trying to make Nunes succeed, which is a good thing. That's the part that loyalty is supposed to bring. The other side is what Klopp is doing now. Ox, he can cancel. Ox should have been gone 2 years ago. Nabi. You know, last time I said Firmino, some guy was like, why are we going to sell the guy who scored the more goals? No, I didn't say sell him in January. I said, let him go after summer. We can't, he's not the future anymore. Salah is not even the future anymore. It's Nunes and Jota and Diaz. So that means we need to bring more new people to be able to move forward. That's why we're struggling right now. And that is the fault of Klopp. That has nothing to do with the owners because the owners will give him what he wants. I mean, there's a ceiling. We're not going to lie. There's a ceiling, but anything he wants, they will give him. You could say, well, no, Coutinho pay for VVD. They could have said, hey, 75 million, that's too much. We just got 150. Get a 50 million pound defender. Get a 40 million pound goalkeeper. People are forgetting that he already bought Fabinho for 45 and Naby for 50. So the Coutinho money was just a supplement that helped us to get to where we were. Now, back to the formation. Klopp 4-4-2 diamond is literally 4-4-3. I almost went to Tolboli. 4-4-2 diamond, it's 4-3-3. That's why we were outrun in the middle today against Ajax. The first 20 minutes, it happened. I don't know how we figured it out so fast in Amsterdam and was able to beat them 3-0. But if you watch the amount of chances that Leeds made is identical to what Ajax did. And that's because that 4-4-2 diamond it doesn't work. Yes, we lost a left winger. But you could put Elliott on there. He's a naturally left-footed player. We don't have to bomb forward like Diaz would do. You could just use it just to control the game to hold it down. 4-2-3-1 is our formation. Because when we played against Arsenal, we did well is when Diaz went off. That's when everything fell apart. So with me, I think he needs to go back to 4-2-3-1. It's boring. It's slow. That's what our players are right now. So, gents, yeah, I needed this therapy.
Great points.
No, great points, brother, as usual.
He needs to sit down with himself and start listening. And some of these guys that are behind him needs to start speaking up. They're all scared of him. None of them are telling him, boss, you're wrong. The players have tuned him out. So when he's out standing outside screaming, hey, yeah, that just Klopp talking. But if you start making changes and bring players who are hungry, I guarantee you, Vivi will turn his life around and be like, okay, either I want to stay here and win more or go someplace else and try the new something, you know? But I still believe in Klopp, man. That guy he's different. You know, Pep is Pep, but Pep wrote a whole chapter about Klopp for a reason. So he's stubborn, but that's the man.
Quasi, thank you very much, bro. As
Thank
usual,
you so much, guys. I
nice
appreciate
one.
you.
Always appreciate you calling in.
Hey, I love your points, man. I like your perspective. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's hit some of those points then, guys. Whoever wants to go.
Can I just quickly touch up
You
on
don't
his
need to be
point
quick. You don't need to be quick.
about
Take your time.
about his formation. So, with regards to especially this diamond, and I touched upon it in post Ajax and on your show, Grizz, was that once you have this diamond, the width has to come from either Robertson and Trent at the same time, yeah, on either side.
Or both, yeah.
Or both, yeah. So, however, then it becomes easier to defend because that fullback has got only one person to deal with, and it'll be two against their wide man and the fullback versus Robertson or versus Trent. With the 4-3-3, you get Salah or Diaz in usual situations that can hug the touchline, and can hug the line and also come in. And so this confuses or gets the fullback and the central defenders to think a lot more. Here is quite easy to say, yeah, you get that space, you help him out, and we can control Liverpool. And it's so easy to play against. That's why I'm not a big fan of it. I want the 4-3-3 back. As long as, and a lot of people keep saying it, is that midfield needs to refresh. I mean, what Klopp said about, I think Zubiri brought it up, or it might have been Kall, but he said that what does the midfield not lack? Yeah, if they're all fit, I can understand that. We've got a guy that can run with the ball. We've got a guy that can press like a demon. We've got a guy that can control the game. We've got a guy that can, read the game well and win the ball. However, that's if they're all available. And this season proved that we can't trust this midfield to play the style of Klopp. I mean, formations are a thing, but he has a principle, and his principle is based on counter pressing. And that counter pressing, if you don't have the personnel to do it, it doesn't matter what formation you play. At the end of the day, you'll always be overrun.
All right. Thank you for clearing up the formation issue. I'll clear up the loyalty issue because it starts with us as fans, and I'm going to bring it all the way to the top. So we're too loyal to Klopp for real because of the success he brought us. And he deserved the respect, but I don't think he deserves the loyalty, because that's where the issue is. There's loyalty from us fans to Klopp. There's loyalty from Klopp to the players, and there's certain loyalty probably within the squad. And as far as the owners being loyal, I think it's just something that is in Liverpool's DNA from top to the fans. Because Milner's contract is probably off loyalty. And I don't want to be here on a stream talking about we should not value loyalty, because we know in certain departments of life, loyalty is key. But in this day and age in our football club, loyalty is actually costing us. We're loyalty to a lot of players that we should move on and replace and refresh. The loyalty or the lack of loyalty to certain players is actually costing us. Out of Gini, Hendo, and Milner, the Brexit midfield, the only player I would back to get a contract in that moment was the player that left. Out of Mo and Salah, I'm not going to say I'm a Salah hater. I respect the guy. I respect what he's done. But obviously, common sense has to kick in. He's done it for 5 seasons in a row. We thought this is a Ronaldo he's going to do for 16 seasons at his age. Let's be real. Mane was really the spirit in that front three as far as the fighting, grabbing it by the neck, getting tough in there. Salah had the nice moments and the consistent moments. Bobby had the gel that bring both of those different worlds together. But I'm telling you, it's the loyalty thing. It's killing us as fans because we're loyal to this club and we're not liking what we're seeing. We're not getting, the loyalty isn't being met back. We need to see the fight, the challenge that Klopp promised us. I see someone quoting the Jurgen Klopp song, say he promised he's going to win the league. And the guy said that song looking like a lie right now. So loyalty is just tearing our house down. From the owners being loyal to Klopp, I do think he has too much power in waiting for specific players, because we waited for Naby. Let's not overlook this. We waited for Naby. That was the guy. And when the guy came in, he hasn't pulled his weight. So now everyone is skeptical on waiting for another guy like that, because when that guy comes in, is he going to be the guy? Nunes is the striker we've been asking for years. At least 3 years we've been asking for this guy. A guy like this, that's a target man, the guy in the box that you dink it into and he's going to be on the end of things. And he's had a rough start. He has quality, but he has a rough start. He's missed some sitters, he's missed some moments, made a few poor decisions, but we're constantly waiting for the guy. When the guy comes in, it's just not enough in the moment he's coming in. So loyalty is really hurting us. And I can't believe I'm even saying that, because loyalty is big and we need it in this world.
Cav?
Great points by everyone, by the way. I'll just touch upon the players. And I think, look, if this poor form and results continues to go on, even past the World Cup into the new year, I don't think you'll ever see a situation whereby these players would ever down tools. You know, I don't think they would ever give up on Klopp. But there could be some truth in the fact that some players are just zoning out to what they're hearing from Klopp and the coaching team. And it was put up on commentary today, I think, by Jamie Carragher about Fabinho. You know, he said he was barking at him on one occasion, and Fabinho didn't even look at him. And I think Jamie said that ain't the first time that's happened. And I just wonder if that's happening with a couple of other players that have been there for such a long time. And let's face it, you know, think about yourselves and your walk of life. If you've been somewhere for 5-6 years and you've had all the highs, all the lows, and intense as well, it's intense, you would at some point, you know, not take your eye off the ball, but them same things that are being pumped into you begin to deflect. You begin to just, you know, not listen, taking quite on board. And that's where we talk about we need freshness in players. We need new people to come in that them ways that Jurgen uses motivates again. He needs to motivate new people, because the old people, right, they're not getting motivated in the same ways, I suspect. We don't really know. And then obviously you've got new people coming into the squad that does it necessarily work? You know, I don't know how he motivates Nunes, even though the guy looks like he doesn't need any, but he doesn't speak English yet. So you've got both sides of this whole motivation and sort of drive coming from the coaching team at the minute. And I just think there probably is some truth into it, that some players are just feeling the strains of being at Liverpool for quite a while, and subconsciously they're not checked out, but they're tired.
Guys, we're going to keep it moving. One more super chat we bring on the next caller. It's going to be Jezza. Mo says, the scuffle Robbo got into, where was everyone else? These little things wind me up as well. I mean, look, they're minor in the grand scheme of things, but they do wind me up. I want my team to be fighting together. I don't give a shit if it was Robbo's fault or not. You go back your man in that situation and you let them know that, yo, we're still together. It's true. Robertson was surrounded by 3 or 4 of them.
Yeah. He was the one player as well I'm going to give props to today. He actually, I thought, played well today.
I tweeted at halftime. I tweeted before the game this morning. I said, and I knew, I don't want to sound like I wish I could get my tweet up. I probably can, but I can't be bothered. So I said, I'm intrigued to see what shape we're going to put out, because I kind of knew what we were going to play, and I kind of had an inkling on the team last night. And I was intrigued how we're going to set up. And Cav, do you remember we done a preview show? And I was like, I don't know if this is the way forward for a home game against Leeds. We picked the team for Ajax and the formation for Ajax. Do you remember what we said? We picked the best players and then put them into a formation that might work for Ajax, as opposed to thinking behind the formation if it's going to work for the opposition. And today we done that. It was totally the wrong formation for Leeds. What did Joe tell us? Joe was telling us, the Leeds fan people, our problems are out wide in the fullback areas, the switch of play. And we had bare success. Trent was in a couple of times in the first. Robertson was in a couple of times, but we had nothing going on. Nothing. It was horrendously set up today.
Yeah.
But let's get in another call. Let's see what they got to say. Guys, there's still 7-8 of you. I'm going to try and get you on as much as I can. Please have your points and questions ready. Jezza, welcome to the stream, my friend.
I would ask how you guys are, but I'm just asking you guys hear me, because you guys don't look great. How are you guys?
We can hear you.
How are you, Zuberi? Are you well? I missed you last week. Are you good, my friend?
Yeah, my apologies. So I've been taking a lot of naps, and you know, my inner happiness is being questioned, you know, running low, because Liverpool used to fulfill that for me, you know. So I'm running off inner happiness right now. So I'm good though. Thanks for asking, man.
That's good. That's good. And big up to the new guys. Hope you're well, Grizz. Grizz, I'm praying for you for the Big Six. That Virgil's playground. I don't know how many times you said that, but I'm sure Skullthuggery's got you. So,
I'm done. Listen. I'm a dead man walking. So there's no point. It was good while it lasted. I love you all, but I'm a dead man walking. I'm Gonski, broski. I'm Gonski. But listen, before you continue, you may not want to speak on Chelsea, or you may want to speak on Chelsea.
No, I do.
Okay.
No, I do want to speak on Chelsea. Okay. I just had the Virgil's playground.
Of course.
And just a quick question. Yeah. Just a quick question. Don't you think his timing is a little bit funny that Gary Neville overlap? Okay, look, they would have planned this in advance, of course, because it's sponsored by Sky Bet and they have budgets and things. But I just think the timing of it dropping, because at the end of the day, as a player, you know, you have control over these things. And I don't think you should be speaking. Okay, he's not saying anything wrong, but obviously you guys have mentioned that he's got a big eye on the World Cup. He mentioned, he spoke about Barcelona. And like Kwasi said, he spoke about not listening to Klopp when he shouts at him like at Fulham away on the opening day of the season. Obviously, for me, I thought you guys would turn it around sooner, but clearly there's deeper problems. It reminds me of when we finished 10th, when I support Chelsea, for the two of you that don't know, because it's the first time I'm on. Yeah,
I zoomed in. Don't worry, I zoomed in and seen that shirt.
Nah, no stress. And I think you got the legends on that side, but I don't think you can see them. But JT, Drogba, Lampard, and Essien and Anelka, all on one poster.
Not a bad batch of players. Not a bad batch of players.
Not a bad batch of players. But speaking of those players, I just want to give you guys a break from Liverpool and talk on Chelsea. Because I was told, again, I didn't watch much of Brighton, so I didn't know much about Graham Potter, but he obviously did a great job. This morning when I woke up, I was jumped in an Uber on my way to work, whatever, and then I was thinking to myself, all the stats started coming out, you know, Chelsea are unbeaten in 9. If Graham Potter wins, he's the first Chelsea, you know, and all the stats start coming out. He's the first British Chelsea manager to do so. And then you look at Brighton, they haven't won a game since they got their new coach. And obviously you don't get told much in press conferences, but, you know, as fans, we grasp on every little thing. And it looks like, although Brighton realized that him getting an opportunity to coach Chelsea, he can't turn that down. It's Brighton, with all due respect. But it doesn't seem like it was taken well. Apparently, from what I'm seeing, the quickness of the decisions, especially with the questions that he's being asked by the journos and the way that he's answering them, and the lineup that he put out today. Because in the week, we played this lineup where we had 3 central defenders and our wing backs were wingers. And he tried this out when in his first game, and we played really, really well against Salzburg at home. And then likewise in the week, we played really, really well. We won via individual brilliance, of course, but we played really well. We did deserve to win the game. And then I look at the game today, and I look at the game against Man United. The game against Man United stuck out to me because when the lineup came out and I saw the way we were playing and we were pinned in our half and we were surviving, and he makes the change early, for me, I don't necessarily look for a Chelsea way. I just try and think to teams that have won the Premier League before, and specifically Chelsea teams. And when he made the change and brought on Kovacic last week, yes, he got it wrong, but he made the change. And I was like, okay, cool, this is Jose-esque. But I knew, because of football gods and the way the game went last week with Man United dominating us, we didn't deserve to win. But where the difference between Potter, and I know he's nowhere near peak Jose when he was at Chelsea, but the difference between that was, yes, it was a dogged performance, and yes, we were 1-0 up from a penalty, but Jose doesn't get it wrong at the beginning. He gets it right from the beginning, meaning that he doesn't have to make that Kovacic sub. And the minute we score a penalty, that last sub, instead of having all his cards played, the minute the penalty comes on, I bet you back in the day, a Kurt Zuma, a Gary Cahill, a centre back comes off the bench, and even though we've already got 5, it becomes 6. Do you understand? And we see the game out and we win 1-0. And today was similar. I felt he disrespected Brighton, especially after seeing how they went away to Anfield and performed, and the form that Trossard's on, to play both, to leave Ben Chilwell out after leaving him out, I think, in the week as well. You know, I know he's come back from injury, but at the end of the day, injuries are injuries. The season has started. We need to play games. He has to play. I felt like playing the 2 wingers away from home, when you know how well Brighton played at Liverpool, when you see what they did at Man City and kept more of the ball. And today we kept more of the ball. But if I don't do the stats thing too much. But because I didn't have both eyes on the game at all times, I just used them. And it's pretty much what I saw, because they had a total of 19 shots. We had 15. However, we had 60% of the ball. They had 40% of the ball, which is the story of our lives at Chelsea for the last 2-3 years. The up front, we don't have the decision making. We just need new attackers. Everybody knows that. So I don't really expect that. And then the shots on target are 9 for Brighton and 7 for Chelsea. That, again, that's an upfront issue. We didn't start the game well. Thiago Silva gave me flashbacks of his first game when he played against West Brom. Yes, he had the 2 on goal line clearances, but they were from his errors as well.
His own errors, exactly. Jezza, we got too many people waiting, man. We're going to try to get as many as we can. Appreciate your points. Appreciate your
No worries.
Thank you very much for distracting us. Thank you very much for distracting us from Liverpool and talking about the disaster show that was at Chelsea. Thank you so much. No, I'm saying thank you, bro. Thank you very much for helping us.
No worries. Best of luck for the week. Who do you guys have next week, by the way?
No, we don't care. We don't care. We don't look at fixtures. We don't care about football right now. I'm looking.
We got Arsenal, so hopefully we can bring some sanity. I think we got Arsenal next week, so
yeah,
hopefully we can bring back some sanity.
Listen, we're looking at Champions Leagues and League Cups and shit, man. Get out of here.
And Jude Bellingham, before I go, what's Jude Bellingham saying now, Grizz?
We don't know. We don't care about transfers. we got bigger issues, man. Take care, bro. Take care. All right. Chelsea was a disaster show, but unfortunately, we've stolen the limelight again, as we do, because we're a big club, right?
It was Chelsea, right?
Yeah, it was a nice distraction though for a few minutes, wasn't it?
It is. They're probably the only one we can banter-ish.
No.
Yeah, no, we can banter, man. They're winless in 3.
No,
and they got Arsenal coming up next.
I'm
just saying. It's a good distraction. You got to take these as they come, Grizz. You can't be picky, you know. It's not a good ground to stand on. But Grizz, when you're falling down and you see another man stumble, whether he falls or not, I mean, you can drag him down. So make a note, get a pen and paper, and make a note about Chelsea. So when they start attacking you, you can deflect some of these shots to Chelsea. That's all I'm saying.
I'm not doing this deflection, man.
But let's touch up on Chelsea. What do you guys think? You know, Potter, a guy that's, for me, he's very idealistic. He's got like a way of playing, of a style where he can change up stuff very easily. And for me, the question of leadership, and do these big boy players at Chelsea consider him changing a lot a sign of weakness, and that he doesn't have a firm idea of what he really wants to do, as opposed to someone like Klopp, who's very stubborn in his ways, Pep, very stubborn in their ways. This guy is willing to change, and so the players going to respect that. And is he commanding the respect of these players? And this is going to play a major role in whether he succeeds or not, in my opinion.
It's an interesting point. It's an interesting point. I've often thought of him being idealistic. I agree with you. And the point that you've raised about him having a variety of ways of playing in his head, maybe not being ideal right now for Chelsea, where they need to form an identity under a new coach. So I get what you're saying, like in comparison to Pep and Klopp, who have a stubborn way of playing. Conte, you can put into that as well. It's interesting. I still rate the guy. I still think he's assessing the situation at Chelsea in terms of players, contracts, positions, formations. I think it's a trial and error season for Chelsea. But saying that if they finish above us in their trial and error season, we're not gonna enjoy this, are we?
Maybe we should have a trial and error season and then settle on something for next season. I don't know.
Ours is a trial and error season. Let's be honest now, guys. Let's just call it as it is. This is, I don't know what you want to call it. I don't want to.
Don't call it transition, because transition suggests you know what you're going into. So it's trial and error.
Yeah, you're right. Transition. You're right. That's a very good point. Can't even call it transition.
If it was transition, I'd be expecting to see a consistent formation. Núñez number 9, team built around him or built around somebody else. Patterns of play. It works some weeks. It don't work other weeks. We're not seeing that.
Am I going to sound like a Looney Tune, guys, and say I still believe when everyone's fit, I reckon it's still 4-3-3 predominantly. When Diaz is back, when Jota's back, but it's the midfield, isn't it? It can't even be 4. Have you got Zuberi? You've been quiet for 2 seconds. I'm worried.
It's because it's a transition, but the transition hasn't been initiated yet. So we're going into a transition, but something went wrong, and we're just kind of on pause. So we haven't quite hit the transition, and the transition meaning when people leave, because people have to leave. Even Klopp said people have to leave for people to come in, and we know a lot of contracts are going to end. And if we renew those contracts, then it's not going to be a transition. But a transition is needed. It's just we find ourselves in this weird place, whether it's down to injuries, investment, whatever you want to call it, tactics. There's a transition on the cards to refresh this challenging team. The current team isn't challenging. So we know we need a transition, but before we get to the transition, we're now at 9th. So it's not a good place to be. The transition should have been initiated, but it didn't. Whether it was a window ago, 2 windows ago.
Can I ask you
guys falling apart before the transition? Go ahead.
Can I ask you guys a question with regards to Liverpool almost winning everything last season, right? It was practically away from winning for the quadruple by 2 goals. Don't concede 1 and score 1. I think and the same with the City game. So do you think that coming off that season that the players had high hopes that the squad will get bolstered so they can go again, and once they saw that the squad wasn't replenished enough, that they were disheartened themselves, and therefore they're like it's not on purpose intentionally, but the back of their heads is we can't keep doing this without help.
I think there's some might have thought like that. I think some obviously worry about their own place. The selfishness kicks in. So some would be protective of their own position in the team. But I think there's some elderly statesman in there, possibly that would have wanted fresh blood. I'm not sure what you guys think, Zuberi and Cav, because I think that's a great point.
The point you make, Nerbeat, shout out to you, man. I wish you was saying this point when Milner signed his contract before June. Because you see that signature, it deflated me. It ruined my entire summer, And if I'm on that team, like you said, and we went in for the quad, and we're in every competition, the first player to be sure of next season should not be Milner. And then right after Milner came Carvalho. So 2 people is going to be at the club. 1 should be leaving, and 1 is fresh. And none of those 2 is going to guarantee anything for the fight ahead. Grizz, remember this fight ahead conversation?
Mm-hmm.
We went into that window. The first big news we got July 1st when the window opened up was Mo Salah signed his contract. I went on Coppish and I said, look, there's no signing. Do not be surprised when there's no signing. Everyone was like, nah, man, you got to be. I'm like, dude, we re-signed Salah's contract on the first day of the window. And we signed Milner and Carvalho before the window. What does that tell you about the window? That says everything you need to know about the window. The window is never going to be 2 new men coming in, because then it would look like 5 new players. Because remember, every time we re-sign a player, that's almost like a signing. So on the first day of the window, we've signed 3 players: Milner, Carvalho, and Salah. So if you're in the squad thinking, yeah, we're going to go again, but those 3 players aren't the 3 players to let us go again. We needed new blood, and there was never any new blood. Last day of the window, I think it came down. We got Arthur, and look where he's at. So you're right, man. It's the perfect analogy I can give you. I do it. I'm guilty of it. I do not get gas in my car until the light comes on. And when the light comes on, I'm making a tough decision. How many miles do I have on this light? So that sums up last season. Last season, we went to the gas station with the light on and 5 miles to spare. And what do? We don't fill the tank. We get enough gas to bring us home, and that was it.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. That's a perfect analogy, to be honest.
Yeah, that's pretty. I suppose you wouldn't really know the answer unless you ask the players themselves. But what I would say is the players in that squad are probably looking around going, they've got Alisson in goal, probably one of the world's best. You've got Virgil in defence, probably one of the world's best. Thiago in midfield, you've got Salah who re-signs. You're thinking, the core of this squad is exceptional. And although we've not added a lot to it, and Mane's left, which would have been sad. There's a big character in the squad. Let's not deny that. That would have upset some people, Naby especially. But they'd have seen Nunes coming in, and they'd have probably been really excited about that because we've obviously played Benfica in the Champions League, and he I would say he terrorised us. Some people might not agree, but the players seeing there was a real player in there. So knowing that he'd come in, he was a big money signing, they'd have been excited by that. There wasn't loads of investment, of course. So they wouldn't have been like, yeah, brilliant, we've got loads of new players coming in, some freshness and all this and that. But they'd have seen what they had got, and I think they'd have still believed they could have challenged for the title. So, new players maybe would have motivated some, but I don't know. I haven't got inside information, but I just look at the characters of the people, and I don't think they'd have looked at the season and gone, I don't think we can achieve anything here based on what we've got.
For me, I just think Van Dijk has got that character in him where he's like, he must have had a meeting with Klopp to say, listen, Klopp, what we need is a De Bruyne type player in this midfield, and we're cooking.
Well, let's not forget the Salah deal was massive in the summer, and tell you what, all the way up leading to the summer as well. Can you imagine? Can you remember how long that circus went on for, seeing if he would sign? I guarantee it. And I remember being on shows and everyone was saying players like Van Dijk and Klopp, and they won't sign unless they knew Salah was signing. And then obviously we got halfway towards the end of the summer and he signed. That would have been massive. I think everyone would have been focusing on that. If I'm Virgil, I'm focusing on Salah. If he signs, I'm staying. I don't think they'd have looked too much more than that.
I don't know, because
Jezza was responding to your analysis, Noor. I think he was saying, I think that analysis is a bit premature. He needs a summer and a preseason, but if he doesn't get us into a final and keep UCL football, he's got to go.
Who's that, Klopp?
No, I think that's about Potter, you know.
Oh, sorry. I beg your pardon. Sorry, I beg your pardon. I
think that's about Potter, and he's right, but I think Potter might end up like, this is crazy. I'm not saying they're the same, but you remember when Moyes went to Man U because he was doing a good job at Everton. Man U wasn't really his level, and even when he went to Man U, I think the moves he made was kind of rash. But Potter is being cautious and he's trying things, and Lampard did that. He was chopping and changing, and Georgina even come out and talked against him, and he lost some of the respect of the senior players, and you know, he's towing that line right now. So he has to be careful what he's doing, because these players have won things and they're going to be like, yo, what have you won? You know, so it's guys, very delicate.
Guys, there's still 900 of you in here. There's about 15 people in the studio waiting to come on. First couple of rules, camera. So put your cameras on, please. Next. I've told the people in the chat who's next. For the rest of you, please have your points and questions ready. We're going to try to rattle through as many as we can before we wrap up now. So please, questions, points, on point, so to speak. Nono is in the stream. Yes, my brother, how are you?
Man, it's been a while, man. Proud to be back, you know?
Good.
But
what would you like to speak
I'm
about?
good. Well, I'd like to speak about you lot, man, and I'm in shock. I'm lost for words about Liverpool, because I expected you to beat Leeds, but I mean, it summarizes your season, because you expected to beat United, Everton and all those teams, but you're not even beating the small teams. Like, is it because you're lacking passion and desire, or Klopp is not getting it right?
Sorry, can I ask, who do you support first?
Me, I support Arsenal, so.
Okay. I just like to know who you support, then we can build it from there. So, because how I like to approach it, I don't know how these guys want to approach it. I always like to give an example that someone can relate to. So if you're an Arsenal fan, you know what it's like to be in our position right now, because you're coming out.
I mean, I know because I've seen it all. You know what I mean?
Exactly. So it's good that you're an Arsenal fan, because you guys are shining right now. Passion and desire. No wants to know. Is it passion and desire that we're lacking?
I wouldn't say. It's difficult. What I would say is we don't have a set of players that are particularly arrogant, and you can't rely on and you can't trust in terms of them as people. I think the passion and desire is there as people and as professional footballers, but on the pitch, the things you have to do to show desire, as in chuck your body on the line, fight for everything, isn't quite being shown. So that's why it is questionable. But I've still got belief that the players still have the desire to represent us in the right way.
Is there anything else you want to ask us? No. Let us know.
No, I mean, I would also like a thing, as in, like, you guys have been saved by 3 players, in my opinion, like Ali and Firmino and Thiago when he was fit, because you managed like the City game well, because he was like slowing the play down and that. So like that's what like I'm referencing. Do you think they've saved you guys? Because according to the stats, you lost 4 games and all that, and you'd be like lower if they weren't in your side.
Who wants to take
right?
that?
You know, it is like without those players, I think it'll probably be a lot lower. However, management has to take responsibility as well. I think there needs to be a lot more bolder decision making with regards to Liverpool. I mean, we discussed loyalty earlier. I don't know if you was listening, but we discussed Klopp's loyalty, that it might be having a detrimental effect as of right now on the team, and also with regards to some of the players not capable of carrying out the Klopp plan of counter pressing and pressing high as a team. There's too many gaps opening up in our team at the moment, and teams are walking through and passing through, not scared anymore of getting caught out anymore and getting hit. I don't know.
Okay, no, thanks very much. We're gonna have to keep it moving,
Big
my
up
friend.
Grizz,
Thank you
man.
very much, man. Look after yourself.
Great
Take
channel.
care. Thank you very much for calling. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Nice one. Let's get the next. Yeah, passion and desire is so hard to describe. If it's passion and desire, guys, it's just so much more than that, isn't it? But let's try to keep rattling through the callers. Next one is Natraj. Natraj, welcome to the stream. Let us know.
Hello, guys. Hello. I live in Germany. I'm from India. I support United. So I must say there is a certain bit of satisfaction to see Liverpool being grounded a little bit. I'm not going to lie.
No.
But if I speak as an objective football fan, it's wild to see Liverpool kind of collapse on itself, because we have I have seen Grizz's content for a while. I've watched 90 Min, etc. So I understand the problems, right? You guys have been having trouble replacing your midfield for a while. But then when you have a match like this where Leeds is literally out-pressing Liverpool at Anfield, and then you bring in James Milner to solve that issue, like how? Great managers can make sometimes wild decisions that they gamble, right? Like the biggest managers are gamblers. Most of the time when Pep gambles, he lost to Leon. That's his problem. But there are managers, when great managers take gambles, when they pay off, they achieve a next level of greatness. Klopp looks like he's panicking because he understands that now his squad is at a point where the regulars don't have any competition. Trent has no competition for his position. Robertson has no competition. Van Dijk has no competition. Fabinho has no competition. like who's going to compete with these guys for their positions? Nobody. And we at United had the same issue forever, right? We were playing geriatric as Matic when he was like a husk of himself, when he was beyond the level of Premier League. He had no business in the Premier League. He was still playing because we had nobody. Now we have Casemiro. So now we have at least somebody who can regularly play in that position. We have Ten Hag who can coach players to be in that position. We have a younger squad. But man, it's wild. It's wild to watch. I just wanted your guys' opinion on one thing. At this point, do you blame Klopp on not getting the most out of the players he has, or is it the problem that he just doesn't have the players to get the most out of anymore in terms of whether it's mental motivation, or is it just like physical, like aging? Of course, father time doesn't wait for anybody. Or is it just that that he has the players? It's just that he doesn't know how to get a tune out of this. Because as we all know, right? Again, great managers. Madrid has old ass midfield. They still win Champions Leagues. They still are like on top of La Liga. So it can't be just age. So which portion would you more lean on? That would be my big question.
Thank you very much, my brother. Navraj, we're going to keep it moving, but we're going to address all your points. You made some very good points. And for a Man United fan, you was very kind. You was very logical in your analysis on us. And we appreciate
Let us do the double over, you guys, then I'll come back with a little bit more.
Exactly. Very good thinking. Very good thinking. Thank you very much, sir.
All right, guys, take care.
Thank you.
Yeah, again, some brilliant points from the caller, man. Who wants to try to address some of them?
I'll address one point because I had to salute a Man U fan, and that might get clipped up and doesn't look good. The part where it's talking about the players and their ability and whether it's an age thing, father time thing. If you look at other teams that are performing well, like the likes of Brighton, if we should do a combined 11, most Liverpool fans would have more Liverpool players in the team over Brighton because of like past success and just the quality of the player, right? So when you think of things like that, it's kind of tough because then you're saying, is it tactics? Is it they're on a decline? It's a real hard conversation to have because we don't really know what it is. We're not there in the training grounds. We don't see what they're doing. We don't see their levels, and if they're not at the level, then it's on the manager to make sure the levels are up and get players in that's at the right level. The only thing I would say on that is a lot of people say they wanted Anthony in for competition for Salah and backup for Salah. Salah had a poor start to the season. It wasn't one of his best. But had we bring his replacement on, and his replacement was banging, I'm talking not like Diaz banging, but just basically doing what Firmino is doing or a little better. Would we then say Salah should sit on the bench eating 350K a week? Is that what we'd be saying? Because a lot of fans would say, yeah, I don't care about that. That's kind of where we are. Because I don't think Klopp will be okay with that. I don't think FSG would be okay with that. Because then we'll be looking to offload him, and not a lot of clubs would want to pick up Salah, seeing he's on the decline and seeing he's on that wage. That's kind of what happened to Aubameyang at Arsenal and Ozil. It's very tough to run a football club.
It is. Anything to add before we bring in the next caller, lads?
I was just going to add something, and I'll keep it quite simple. I think Liverpool for the past few years have been a team that's competing for the league. So they either finish first or they finish second. I think the lack of investment made it so that we would struggle to finish in them top spots, but I expect us to be a top 4 team. Absolutely. I think the injuries don't help, but I think the management and the players have to share the blame for where we currently sit in the table. So I understand everyone's point about investment, refreshing the squad, this and that, but that team has enough quality in it. Every single game it's played this season, it's had enough quality to go out and get a result, and it hasn't. So 75% of the blame I'm laying on our season is going down to this manager, the coaching team, and the players, because there's enough in there to get results.
Fair enough. We're going to keep it moving. Guys, stop arguing in the studio and chat who's first, who's second, who's third. I decide who's coming on. Simple as. If you don't like it, get out the studio before I kick you out. So stop arguing like little boys and girls. Adamson is next. How, my friend? Welcome to the stream. What would you like to speak about? Well, I can guess. My salam. Hope you're well.
Yeah. Usually, I'm usually very positive and whatnot, right? Because I accepted like the situation back from like the preseason when we didn't sign midfielders and whatnot. So I accepted that we're just gonna be fighting for the top four, nothing more than that. That's basically it. Because you're ignoring like the major issues that you see in the club. Going from, you know what? Just ignore that. I'm just gonna firstly just focus on one thing. I don't mind people from other, supporting other teams talking about, oh, you miss Mane, oh, this and that, Trent, or that, blah blah blah. But I don't like it when, the Liverpool supporters, go on the bashing side, right? Or talk about, oh, Mane, we sold the wrong player. No, the player, he didn't want to stay. He was fed up with everything. He wanted a new challenge, right? As far as he goes for that. That's what he was talking about. And I think, as far as I could see it, if you imagine yourself in any work environment, right? You're busting your ass. You're doing everything you can just to lift up that company, right? And then you see like there's so many empty seats that need filling. And the management, year after year after year, not filling those seats. At the end of it, you're just gonna be whatever, F it, You will lose hope. And that's partially what I think. Because 1 year, not even a year ago, you were saying like Alisson, best goalkeeper in the world, Virgil van Dijk this, Trent this, I don't know, Mo Salah, and so on and so on. You could keep on going. You could name at least 7 players who would be on that list. And now suddenly they lost their game? No, I think they just deflated totally. They don't have it in them. They just think, what's the point? Another point I want to draw on. Until this point, we don't have a doctor in this big club. We're like a small club. No doctor. That's crazy. Like you see the muscle injuries. I don't know.
I just want to interject on that point, Adams, and I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
We have got doctors at the club. We just haven't got a head doctor who's overseeing it. So we have like 3 or 4 doctors in and around the club, but we haven't got a head doctor. But I get your point. I agree with you.
Yeah. The point was like, when you have a head doctor, he could organize everything, and then he could talk directly with club and, like be assertive about who to play, who not to play, and who to chill out with, and, these type of things, right? And I feel like it's not going in that sense because you see like 8, 9 injuries. Come on, man, that's crazy numbers. We're reaching crazy numbers of injuries and whatnot, right? And then you go on about, let's talk about the Mane thing, since it came up early on. Mane, when he was on the left side, he had a shitty period, really shitty period, before he got rejuvenated and put in the middle. And then we bought in Diaz. Before that, if you look at the stat, no goals, no assists, no nothing. He was really deflated in that side, right? But then he moved to the middle, and I thought I went from out into, oh man, keep this dude. I'm glad that club had sentimental to keep him on, right? And then suddenly, people are talking about we missing him and whatnot. No, we were missing midfielders because after Henderson lost his legs, he lost his composure in covering up together with Fabinho. Then it became like I told you, I think one of the podcasts. It's like the Fabinho is like standing there all alone, trying to defend left and right, and I don't know what, and Thiago isn't that player who keep on running left and right and trying to cover up. He should be in the role of reading the game, and just distributing the ball to keep spots, right? But instead, he's worrying about, oh, I need to cover up behind me. I need the whole time to cover up. How many slides did he do in this game? How many tackles? That's not his position, or not position, but that's not his role, really. If you want to, they use the best out of him. Anyways, I'll just try to wrap it up. I think Pep Lenders is the one running the show behind the scenes. That's for me. That's my theory. I think that's the one.
Again, thank you very much for raising some great points. We're going to try to discuss them. Appreciate you calling in, my friend. Thank you for your support.
Yeah, cheers.
Thank you.
Yeah, cheers.
Take care. Bye-bye. Break that down, guys. I don't know, man. It's so many intelligent callers coming on today. That's the first thing I'm astounded by, the intelligence and the rationale of some of our callers and subscribers. Amazing. No one's gone wild and off the top and made stupid comments. It's all
rational. Yeah.
It all makes sense, man. And you can't disagree. I haven't disagreed with anyone. And that's the worst part of it.
He brought up some really good points. Liverpool, I think they're lacking identity at the moment. I know Pep Linders said our identity is our intensity. However, now you've got two issues that you have to contest. One is, do you have the players to continue to do that intense counter-pressing style football, as in the age profile? For me, no. Second, do we have the technical players in midfield or around the midfield area to hold on to the ball and be a possession-based team where we can control teams by keeping the ball and thus limiting their opportunity to attack us? And I would say no, because if we define what's technical ability, I always define it as two things: that you can manipulate space and time well. It's not about skills, silky skills, nice control. No, it's can you manipulate time and space? If you can manipulate that, then you're a technical player, because Xavi wasn't a very silky, skillful player that will get you off the edge of your seat. But he was very technical because he'll manipulate time and space. I don't think we have that. We play, as Grizz said, hot potato with the ball a lot. Tick, 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 and it's over the top. Tick, tick, tick. The ball plays into midfield and it's gone up to Nunes or Firmino or Salah, trying to find Salah on the wing. And I think we're coming to a crossroad. It's like, what's our identity? And for me now, it's like I don't see Liverpool anymore. I don't see what we are. What is Liverpool under Klopp at this moment in time? And I don't see it.
We're going to try bring in a few callers now to wrap this up. Ten Hag is next. My chat's not working, so I hope you guys in the studio can read my comments. Ten Hag, are you ready to come on? Ten Hag, Mustafa? Yeah. Yes, my friend. What would you like to speak about? Okay, get you out of here. You're just wasting my time. All right, get out, mate. Who's next? True Red Devil. Have you got a camera for me there, my friend? If you haven't, I'm going to have to remove you from the studio. No? Okay, Spider LFC, sir. You are next. Welcome to the stream. Spider LFC, welcome to the stream, my friend. Where are you calling from? You're on mute, sir. Just like Liverpool.
I was being respectful for a second.
There we go.
How are you keeping, lads? You all right? No, it's just a couple of points, really. I think we're on a massive hangover from last season with most of this squad. Massive hangover. Like, we have to realize I'm always kind of a half glass full kind of guy, and I'm always positive as much as I can be about the team. But in saying that, it was 2 seasons ago we were playing on midfielders and defence, and now we still got third place, in that season, considering that we only played 2 young fellas in defence after we lost our main midfielders. And if you notice that the same thing is kind of happening this season, whereas no matter how fit Fabinho and Henderson get, they're only at 60% of their own potential, because that's as far as physically possible they can get, if you get me, They're burnt out. They haven't had enough backup. They have no competition, as one of the lads said earlier. That was one of the points I was going to make anyway. When you don't have any competition, you become complacent. You second guess yourself. You just sit into the role and just get by it and just say, okay, maybe January I'll start picking up my boots again or something like that. I don't doubt that this Liverpool team, with the players that we have, can go on a 15-game winning streak the second half of the season. I'm not being optimistic about that. I just know from past history what these guys can do when they put their mind to it. But I just see a mentally tired team. I've always been a guy that's been supportive of FSG because of how they turned the club around. I always think finance versus fantasy as much as I possibly can. They've backed where they could. They've made mistakes, but they've publicly apologized about it as well. So I'll give them that. But it's coming to a point now where we actually that team needs support in that midfield. I'm not a guy to talk about transfers. I hate it. I don't like ITKs. I don't like any of this kind of stuff. But if we don't start doing it in January, I'm worried about the main core of the team that we have that's playing fantastic, like Alisson or anybody. I know Salah's there for a while now with that contract, but I'm worried about heads being turned. I'm worried about him looking elsewhere, because once you start getting that process started in your head, it never leaves, and there's always a doubt on whether the team is going to progress enough going forward, and that I'm very, very worried about. So with the situation, Salah's have to sign a new contract. Bobby's nearly out of his contract fairly soon. We need progression starting in January. I don't know what you guys think about that. I don't want to go into transfer kind of things, but it's logical that we're not going to go out and buy the best of the best in January. I do believe, though, that there needs to be another Milner or another Matip type brought into the club, because I just doubt that FSG are going to back us. And I've always been pro FSG. I've always that, but I'm seeing the point where it's, let's call a spade. AXA paid for the training ground. The investments that are coming in after paying for the stands. I know FSG didn't borrow against the stands being built or whatever, but they've paid for themselves. We've had so far, if you're going by what the contract is saying, is £225 million being brought in by Nike already. You've just signed a deal with Coca-Cola. Where's this money going at the moment? And that's what I'm asking questions. I never asked it before. I've always backed them and said we're doing the right thing. We are a sell to buy thing, and we're doing it right. But it comes to a point where going for the number one target is no longer, it's not an excuse. We lost out in Tchouaméni and he went to Real Madrid, but there was no plan B, plan C, or plan D ready to go. It's just rash decisions. We don't know how Nunez is going to turn out, because people are going to mock him. But he scored in the last few games. There's a player in there, and I think he'll come good eventually. But we have to stop this process where we're buying players where that play well against us for one game or two games or whatever. I see him. I'd like it to be done where, I don't know if it's the Julian Ward progression from Michael Edwards progression. I don't know what you guys think. Is there a recruitment issue there? Is because is losing Edwards led to the point where Julian is, maybe it's kind of a bit above his head or a bit above his pay grade, or is he not just settled into the role yet? Has he done his homework, before coming into it, or is he just taken over the reins and tried to continue on what Michael Edwards has done? I want to see some individual flair from him, to be honest with you. But I don't know what you guys think with regards to that, but we played the most games in history of any Premier League side ever last season. I was expecting some sort of a drop-off, but I was also expecting at least some sort of cover. We haven't gotten that. And that's my worry. I'm worried that we've lost against Nottingham Forest, we've lost against Leeds, we've beaten Ajax. We could go now and beat Napoli, and then we could beat Spurs, and we could barely get past Derby in the cup with some weird result. We'll beat Southampton, and then all of a sudden people are kind of a little bit eased off, and then maybe no business is done when it comes to December or coming into January. And that's what I'm worried about. So I want to see a show from the higher management, not other than Klopp, because he's in fairness, he can only do so much, and I don't want him to lose faith in this team either, because he's the best. For me, he's the best manager in the world, and turning his head or Ali's head or anybody else's head is a big no-no. And the hierarchy now needs to step in and say, right, we need to protect you guys. This is what we're going to do.
Zaberi is the man I want to go to first
Okay.
on this topic, because I know you have some strong opinions on this. And Spider's made some very, very good points that I personally relate to, because I'm pretty much in his boat in terms of I've never really questioned it, because we were on a journey, and that journey was always on the upward. And so when you're on a journey and everything's smooth, there's no bumps, you've got nothing to complain about. Just smile and enjoy the journey. Suddenly you start hitting the bumps and you start asking the driver, yo, what's going on? And Zuberi, I want your opinion first on this before I come to Kevin Nu.
Put your seatbelts on. Turbulence ahead. Spider, big up yourself. I'm a big, I shouldn't say supporter, but I'm a big advocate for FSG in the Liverpool community. I've always said FSG in, just despite the people that are saying FSG out. And I went and did my research, and when people say like AXA built the training ground, it's not really fair, because in business you don't tend to put your name on everything. Some things your name are better left off of than on, and that's just what business is. So when you type in LeBron James' name, it's going to tell you he's the co-owner of the Penguins because of a $900 million deal from FSG. You can make of that what you will, but you see how your name can be skewed up. So it's also says FSG partners are in a $1 billion takeover for AC Milan. So as far as it comes down to the owners and transfer and stuff like that, it's really a gray area that I think fans just use to paper over what we can actually see. What we can see is the decline of a lot of players. When Nat Phillips is in this squad and he's not really getting any game time, it's almost like, why are you here? When Origi was here for like 7 years and showed no lack of ambition as a professional soccer player, to want games, to play for a team, to represent his country and be the best player he can be. There's a lot of players like that in our squad. When you see the likes of Milner getting extended at his age and the run we came off of, there's just a lot of different things that's just causing us to deteriorate. And I never expect the drop off to be like this. This is actually worse than I predicted. So when they say turbulence ahead, I think, okay, I can run to the bathroom in the plane and take a quick piss. But we're going down. It's Mayday, and I'm stuck in the bathroom. I can't get out. I can't get back to my seat. So that's how it's looking. It's looking like we're falling from grace. It's not like a transition, like Cav said. Something else is happening. The transition was in schedule, and something else is happening. We can't put our finger on it, but what we can see on the field, it's a far cry to say we invest in January, we go again, find the replacements, we go again. We have to really identify who is not going to be here, who is not going to be available. And we're not talking about attitude, we're talking about availability. One of the biggest stats in our midfield was Gini Wijnaldum was available.
Never replaced.
Screw the quality, screw the stats missing from his name. Available. We're at the point now we're calling for availability. If Thiago is available for the rest of the season, I think we can go on and put a fight together. If certain players come back and they're available, we can do something. But let's be honest, no Liverpool fan is going to go out on a limb and say we can depend on any midfielder to be fully fit and the rest of the team to be fully fit and put, like you said, we've done this. And now we're losing hope and we can put a 16-game win streak together. That's something we normally do. We can hang our hat on that. And right now, we can't even do that because of availability.
Yeah, pretty much. Like you hit the nail on the head right there. I mean, it's the issue of cover, and I don't mean like buying cover or anything like that. I just mean like the injuries alone have cost us any cover that can come in for Fabinho, any cover that can come in for Thiago. I'm surprised that Thiago has gone 3 games in a row without taking a knock and going for 2 games, because like I love Thiago, I think he's brilliant, but that's the case. He goes for 3, he plays 3 games, he takes a knock, he's out for 3, he's back again for 3 or 4, and that's the way it works. We're unlucky with Jota where he goes, but he's now having injury after injury as well over the last season or so. And he's not really an injury-prone player. Luis Diaz is unlucky in the position, but that's not the position we're missing in, because we've got an abundance up forward. We've got some of the best talent in the world up front. The problem is there is no creativity. There is no cover. Without the cover, Trent and Robertson are completely pulled back. they're crossing the ball from nearly the halfway line rather than getting up to the edge of the box anymore. So it's long balls from Trent over to Robson. Hopefully he'll head it in, and that's the way it works. And there's zero creativity. Milner came on tonight, and he's leggy. He shouldn't even be still in the Liverpool side for the last 2 seasons, but I love him. I love his attitude. I love what kind of player he is. I wish we had 10 of him in the team with the body to back it up. But he came on tonight, was drilling the ball across as much as he possibly could. But I didn't like the fact that I see Curtis Jones, who doesn't know how to pass a ball early. He's a Scouts lad. I hope he does well in the Liverpool side, but he turns, and the chances are gone instantly. And I wish twice he could have played Bobby through tonight as he was running through on goal. He didn't put the head up, drop the head down again, turned around and passed it back. And we can't depend on the likes of Harvey Elliott and Carvalho, who are kids, to come in and lift this side. That's impossible. It's really impossible. They can bounce off players of world-class quality and learn from them in the midfield, but for them to do it on their own, it's impossible. It's absolutely impossible. So for me, it's like I say, null and void the season, but I just want to see some sort of passion left from the guys out of there. I know it's physically impossible for Fabinho to get back to where he was, and Henderson, because their peak is 60% now because they're so tired, to be honest with you. So I don't know, guys.
I want to before we let you go and look, you've been wonderful and you've been patient, so that's why I've let you stay on a little bit longer, because you've made some very good points that are related to what I want to ask Cav. The one of the key points that you didn't really want to get into because you was being, I kind of think, I'd like to think you was being respectful of the job that the collective have done, the owners and Klopp. So I think he was being respectful, but I think there was an inner rage in you. Correct me if I'm wrong. There's an inner rage in you that you think that it's not being supported now by the hierarchy. Cav, I want to come to you. We've discussed this before. They haven't got any choice now, Cav, have they? They have to invest now. Otherwise, it's mutiny, literal mutiny.
This is such a big topic to try and dissect, but I'll give it a go.
Okay,
right?
Yeah, we're gonna do a stream dedicated to Spider's points, actually. So shout out to Spider. We're gonna do a dedicated stream, but briefly.
I'll do a streamlined quick version. Where it's 2022. It's 2023 soon. Okay. Look at the years ahead. Where should Liverpool be in the league? What stature of club should we be? Okay. Because look at what we're competing against, right? So when we say we should invest and we should do this, we're never going to keep up with Man City. We're not going to keep up with Chelsea at the current rate. They may change. We're not going to keep up with Man City and Newcastle in the years to come. So Liverpool, right? Take your Liverpool hat off and just look at football and look at the state of football. We really should just be a top 4 team. Okay. So what FSG have to do when they evaluate what they need to do is understand what the realistic goal is. And this Liverpool squad should get top 4. And a little bit of investment to future-proof that is needed, yes. But how much investment do you need to win a league? So the reason I ask them questions is because this squad needs freshening up. It needs new players coming in. It needs it not only to future-proof, to keep that top 4 and maintain what's expected, right? Not wanted, because we want to win leagues, what's expected, okay? But also because of the amount of people going out the door. So you naturally have to refresh because you need a 25-man squad for your competitions, right? So it's difficult because we're all here as fans and we're disappointed. But at the moment, we're in a tornado. We're in a whirlwind. And when you're in a whirlwind, everything flies off. It's chaos and everything goes wrong. And we're getting frustrated in the fact that the club doesn't have a man to manage the doctors. We're getting frustrated in the comments that Klopp's making. If you look at his press conference, everything he says is the truth, but we don't like to hear it because it's not good at the minute. But when we evaluate the state of the team and the club, we're sustainable. We're going in the right direction. We're in a whirlwind, as I say. It needs a bit of investment to get back to where we're expected to be. We need to be perfect in our recruitment to get where we want to be. And that's something that FSG can only play a part in. That really does boil down to Julian Ward and Klopp, the scouts, and the coaching team to be bang on to get on where we want to be.
Spider, we're going to let you get off, but thank
no
you
problems.
very much for calling in, my friend. It's been a pleasure speaking to you. Hope to
Thanks,
speak to
guys.
you very soon as well.
Appreciate it.
Feel free
Thank
to
you.
call in anytime. Take care.
Thank you. Cheers, lads. Okay.
Bye-bye.
It's a big topic, though, isn't it? It's big.
It's
topic.
a massive topic, man.
Yeah.
I'm blown away by some of the callers' points, man. I thought it's going to be a shit show, like not a shit show, but you know what I mean, guys, man. I'm tired.
Grizz, I tell you, you're always opposite of what it's gonna be. You know, you I'm telling you. So you're talking about it's gonna be a bad. I don't even want to do this. What should? See, you just gotta let it flow, and the people know. The people know, and that's why the people are channeling their inner happiness and their inner perspective.
It's mad because look, this is actually my mate, right? He has no fucking clue about football. He's just come in. He's come in. He's bored at work, and he's just taking a piss out of me. There's no creativity. He don't know fuck all about football. He's actually a football himself, and he's coming to the stream taking a piss. So anyone that sees Safraz in the chat, tell him about himself. Jason sends in a super chat, says, showing support from the Big Six. Sorry for the L, bro. Hoping we don't get tripped up at Forest tomorrow. Listen, I'm supporting Arsenal. At least you give Man City a fight. Otherwise, this is a pure farmers league. And you guys are going to recognize that the job Liverpool and Klopp done. But let's get the next caller in. Maddy Mad is in the building. Hopefully he's got his camera working. Is it live? Maddy Mad, are you there, my friend?
Yes, I am, Grizz. What's going on?
My friend, it's as Cav says, it's a tornado or whirlwind. He said that's what's going on right now. But where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Boston, not too far from the so-called FSG blokes.
Oh Lord, can you knock on their door tomorrow and say, "Yo, what is going on, people? Like, can you help us a little bit somewhere?"
Well, I'm going to help you with a factor that a lot of people don't. And if you do a Google search, you will find it. Now, when FSG took over Boston, they brought around this Moneyball philosophy, and it worked for a while. It worked with LFC. But the thing that they never told people and they would never acknowledge, if you do a Google search, after their third year as owners, FSG in baseball was spending more money than the New York Yankees. Think about that for a moment. So the Moneyball philosophy works for to stabilize the club. But if you go and double check it, not my words, it's right there in Google. At one point in time, FSG outspent the New York Yankees. And we all know the Yankees spend money like crazy. Now, my first problem, and I'm going to be the wild one, is with Klopp. Now, a lot of people saying, they're giving a Klopp a blight. They're blaming it on FSG. Yes, FSG is to blame. But here's my point. Klopp knew what he got from FSG prior to resigning. He willingly resigned knowing that they're not going to change. So I'm confused how he's not carrying some of the blame. That's my first point. Like Severi, sorry if I say your name incorrectly, I remember seeing you on Copper's show, and you made a very valid point, and a lot of people was like, oh, that's absurd. You said maybe Klopp did the walls and stuff, we need a roof for now. And people don't understand what you meant by that, right? And if you look at Klopp's, his way of doing stuff, okay, for the first 3 years after you got this squad done, and you was in your peak around the 2017 season, you did not do any recruitment. So I don't want to hear nobody blaming FSG for it, because at the end of the day, I'm ex-military. We are taught basically the best laid plans goes to shit, excuse my language, when the first bullet is fired. but you're supposed to have a backup plan. And if he is such a great manager, I'm confused why he used these players over and over again, and then now you're expecting them to do the same thing again. Like they say in some of these quotes, yesterday's price is not today's price. Yesterday's players is not going to be today's players. Don't matter how experienced they are. Even if you look at Modric in Real Madrid, he's still a good player because he's rotated enough because there's competition. Club does not like competition. And one of the things that I heard you all mention was Origi, where no ambition because he didn't want to leave the club. I put that same lack of ambition towards Klopp, because if you, as a great manager, know your worth and you're working for somebody who is going to tarnish your reputation, why would you resign? That's this question I would love to hear somebody give me an answer to. Last but not least, those injuries and them, I'm sorry, that's Klopp and the whole medical staff to blame, because like as everybody has alluded to, these players have been run off their rocks. And one of the other things I also mentioned was that I said, because you, Grizz, was talking about Shermani from way back when. And me personally, I'm thinking Shermani looked at Liverpool and he said, yes, Klopp may be a great manager, but he started to look at things also as in like, I may get the same kind of action like how Costas gets. He's going to pick favorite players, even as talented as I am. I mentioned a lot of to people why we didn't get Gravenberch, who went to Dortmund, and people said, oh, his mind was set. Liverpool never put their hands into the bidding. So if you never put your hands into the bidding, how you expect the fish to bite the hook? You know, so that's it from me from Boston, you know, so chop that up as you all may, you know. Hopefully I didn't go too wild, but my grandmother always said, even a non-working clock tells the time right twice a day.
That's right.
You're very even if you went wild, it will be justified today. You didn't. You raised some amazing points. Noor, I don't know where you want to start with some of these points, and if there's something that you particularly want to pick up on.
Klopp, yeah. When you said about Klopp having signing a new contract, knowing how FSG operate. All right, the way I see it, Klopp signed it because they promised him, and he alluded to it in one of these interviews. He said that why he left Dortmund after 7 years was because all his best players were being picked off, and he said, "I know I couldn't sustain or fight Bayern Munich in such a situation." So he said, but Liverpool, which FSG, we have to give them credit for this bit, did give him the big boy players like Van Dijk, Salah to sign their new contracts. Fabinho signed a contract, Henderson signed a contract, Robbo, Trent, who else? I'm sure after the injury season, all of those guys signed a new contract. Flacco, yeah, all signed a new contract. So he got to keep his base, and Alisson, yeah, how can I forget Alisson? And Alisson, he got to keep his core. Now, the thing I put blame on Klopp, and I agree with you, is trying to play this. I won't say a system, but the philosophy of pressing high intensity football with an aging team. It's not an old man's game. Like Real Madrid, they had to reinvent themselves to be relevant in the Champions League.
They're probably the best example. They're probably the best example because they went on a similar Champions League run like us, right? Where they won it 3 times in a row, reached finals, and had an aging midfield, but didn't completely dismantle it, but just one by one picked up the younger version of each And now look at them. They're probably the best example. We talk about the riches, and they've not even done it with, breaking the bank like PSG or Man City like to do. They've been smart with it, and they've been ahead of the curve. I guess that's a very good example. I don't know what you guys think of that as well. I know we always talk about, but the point I'm trying to make is, I think we missed out on the lure of our height and power and might to get these players in. Do you get what I mean, guys? Because we all know that these times don't last forever, right? And we saw Champions League finals. We saw 3 Champions League finals. We saw fucking title races in the late 90s in terms of point-wise. We see 1 trophy. So we see 1 Champions League, 1 Premier League, and we see all the domestic trophies. But our height, and this is a criticism that's going to be levied, and I think it's justified, guys. We didn't use our pull and might like Real Madrid did. And I think that's what's going to hurt me. Me personally, I don't know what you guys think on that.
I think on this point with the transfer, it's if we know who it is, then I think we'll just act. So if it's the owners, we'll just get them out. If it's Klopp, we'll get them out. But when we're going in for a player, and to his point, as far as having a backup plan, B, C, and D, we have to put a package together for that player. Because I'm pretty sure Diaz accepted personal terms with Spurs, but our package looked a little bit more appealing, so he came to us. And when we don't get the player we go in for, that's kind of the same situation. The player might agree to our terms, but then another team comes along with better terms and they go. Once they go, that's not an issue. The player wants what's best for him and his family and whatever he's into and his ambition. But what's good for us is to have alternative. So for the up-and-coming talk is going to be Jude. If we put a package for Jude and Jude likes it, and last minute another package comes along and he takes that, okay, so what is the alternative if we don't get that one guy? And that's why we've been coming up short in these windows. There's no plan B, C, and D if we don't hit our targets. We need to go in there with a plan. And I know we can do the Jamaican proverbs, the African proverbs about if you have a plan B, that means you're not having faith in your plan A. And, we all come off different walks of life and belief, but this is football. And if you're going for one guy and he chose Chelsea, like a Warner, I think we were in for him as well, and he went to Chelsea, what was the backup? We can't just be coming out of these windows saying, well, we didn't get the guy we want. We'll identify the next perfect guy. Because when we identify the next perfect guy and he goes somewhere else, now that's 2 windows we haven't bring anybody in. And we keep going back to this drawing board of scouting players. And we're not even saying, all right, if we don't get him, we're going to get. Do you know how deflated I was when Klopp said the midfielder we want at the end of the window went to another club? Why? The backup midfielder we wanted went to another club. The target was Chouameni, he went somewhere else, but our backup actually went to another club. So what we're going to do. So that's kind of why we've looked like this. And that's why I agree with you. That's why I don't put it on the owners. We're lacking a lot of plan B. Defensively, we're letting in too much goal. What is our
No one wants to jump in. No one wants to jump in.
Yeah, but quickly, Zabiri, you heard Klopp, Rambo, just before we got what's his name? The Brazilian Arthur. Just before we got Arthur in, you heard Klopp say, listen, he said, I'm what is it, willing to take risk, but our style, I don't know, our circumstance doesn't allow it. So he goes, I'm more willing to take that risk, but he goes, those above me are not. So I have to work with what I have. Which shows me that he was willing. He made it. For me, I think he showed concern about the midfield. However, it was, and maybe he got given an ultimatum. All right, if you do sign someone now, that'll take away from this in next summer or that. And then he had to decide like what's best. And managers have to do that sometimes. It might not work out. And in this case, I don't think it worked out well. But I think the restriction that they're putting on him, where teams like Arsenal are outspending us, has to be like they have to be called upon and seen for what they are.
I hear your point on the risk. What I would say with that risk is I look at that risk differently. I think that risk was if we went out and spent 150 million, all the players you thought would have fixed this, and we were ninth, the risk would have been, bro, you'd have been fired. And that's a risk for our club because now we brought in $150 million worth of player, and now we're going to have to find a new manager to make what you brought in the end of your tenure work. To me, that's how I perceive that risk because he wasn't saying this in the beginning of the window.
Great point.
I think what we've got to do is think back to when Klopp signed that deal back in April and look at the state of the club back then. You know, look at the fact that we were going for 4 trophies and look at the fact we'd been to Champions League finals, you know, missing out on Premier Leagues by a point. Look at all the stars we had in our squad or have got in our squad. That's the reason why Klopp signed on, because he was given assurances that these guys were going to re-sign, which they did, and that there would be investment in the future, but it would be sustained investment. And the club, and that'll be alongside the club growing as a whole in terms of new sponsorships coming on board, better sponsorships, a training ground and the stadium. And Klopp as a person, he likes that idea. I don't think he would go to a club that's owned by, you know, states and where money's just chucked at it, because that doesn't fit with his morals, I don't believe. So that's why he signed, because he was at one of the best clubs in the world and he liked the idea behind where we were going. Now, if you look at where we are currently, you know, if I ask the question where this team should be in the league this season, I'm sure everybody here would agree it would be in the top 4, maybe competing for the title. Now, we've had injury issues, but for me, I say it again, the reason we're not in that position isn't because solely down to the lack of investment. It's down to the Klopp and it's down to the players, and he will look at himself and go, how can I be asking for much more money and put it on more money when I know I'm not doing my job? You know, I bought into this model and I know I'm not getting us to where we should be. So he's never going to come out and complain about that. Don't ever expect to hear him come out, you know, in transfer windows and go, I've not been backed. Because if he's doing his utmost best and what we expect from him, Liverpool will be at the top. That's just the truth of it. But what we did sign in the summer was one of the most sought after, whatever your opinions are, and it's completely split, I think, across the fan base, a striker in Nunes. You know, he'd have been over the moon with that. And I was really excited by that signing. You know, I'd have liked a bit more, but I also seen that we did try and future-proof by signing Carvalho. We had Elliott in the squad already, and obviously he had his injury, but he was coming back into it. We'd signed Ibu, you know, the previous year, and he's a young player that's going to be a big centre back in the future. So there are these future prospects. What we didn't do, and I think the mistake we made, was we didn't sign them 30-40 million pound players at 24, 25 years old that fills the gap. And I think that's where the error was.
Maddie Mad, thank you for your call, man. Hope we tried to answer some of your points or discuss your points. Was there?
No worries. Good to be here. Big up to everybody on the panel, and we'll see how it goes.
Absolutely, sir.
Go get those guys in Boston.
Yeah, man. Go and pay them a visit. Take care, my friend. Thank you very much.
Hey, big up.
Take care. Great callers, man. Great callers, man. Here we go. We got Hus next. Let's get Hus on the stream. My brother, hope you're very well. How are you?
How you doing, Grizz? You good?
I'm good, man. Welcome to the stream, my friend.
Can you hear me properly?
Yeah, man. Loud and clear. Perfect.
Okay.
Listen, with a microphone like that, that's because I know this game now, you see. And that microphone that you got there, that's a professional, that's a serious microphone. So we can hear you loud and clear. In fact, I want you to swap, man. Like me and you should swap, man. If you're like a real good follower of Grizz Khan TV and you like the panel and you like us, man, we need to do some swapping, man. That's a serious microphone, but now I joke. I joke.
Well, you got the Yeti.
Yeah, I've got a Yeti, man. But
I had
people that know that's a serious one. Cav, you know that's a serious mic he's got there.
Yeah, and it's wired in. What's that Cat 5A cable or something as well. So yeah.
No, I've just put it with the USB. I don't use the XLR.
Okay,
fair enough.
Yeah.
Go for it, my friend. The floor is yours.
No, it's just interesting hearing you guys speak about, Klopp, and even FSG, a lot of heat on FSG at the moment, which obviously I've criticised FSG quite a lot, but I feel like they are quite easy to target when we're losing. I wanted to speak actually more about Klopp and what he's been saying regarding even the press conference today, coming out saying stuff like with injuries, etc., games every 3 days. And I think it's getting a bit harder to kind of defend Klopp when he comes out with things like that, when he's coming out and saying we've got injuries and etc. But going back, we know the type of players we have in our squad, you know, Naby, Ox, all these, you know, even Hendo, these players that Klopp seems to in the summer say they're good enough to win league titles, challenge again, but then now we're not doing as well. Klopp is now saying, you know, game every 3 days, but we know Liverpool are a massive club. We're gonna have a game every 3 days, you know. So I think Klopp is kind of getting away with it. I know what you guys think, because I think the pressure, it gets, obviously I'm FSG, I've criticised FSG a lot with the lack of spend and everything, but I don't think Klopp is getting enough criticism by certain of our fan base. And yeah, I just want to see what your opinions are on that, because Klopp's backed these players to the hill, and now that we're on a rough patch, he's saying, you know, some things that it's kind of hard to back.
I think I know what you're saying. I know exactly what you're saying, and I'm very quickly.
And I love Klopp, by the way.
No. We all do. We all do, and I know exactly where you're coming from, and I know exactly what you're saying. In fact, I want to get the boys' opinions, because I'm gonna speak on RedFellas tomorrow. So I want to get these guys' opinions on that, because they've probably got varying. I don't know. I don't want to speak for them. No, is Klopp getting away with it? And it's basically, is Klopp getting away with it? Is it time to put more scrutiny on the manager as opposed to the owners? Because he's powerful enough. Sorry, go for it.
Sorry, just to make it clear, I'm not suggesting Klopp out or anything. I think that's stupidity. But is he getting away with, like, with some of the comments he makes? He's kind of contradicting himself. You back these guys to do the job and win the league title and challenge, but when it's going bad, we know the history of our players. They're injury prone, so you should have replaced these guys, basically.
I think we're going to get 3 different opinions, but this is going to be interesting. Go on.
Yeah. No, I'll defend Klopp on this point, mainly because in the press he has to back these guys. He has to, especially if he's telling them to their face that he's backing them. He has to say it publicly as well, and vice versa. So these guys need to hear that from Klopp. That's one thing. The second thing, him blaming the injuries now, for me it's a deflection tactic. I think he's given them a good rollicking inside in the dressing room. However, I think the issue is not if Klopp is getting away with it. For me, is the message being diluted now, because they've all heard it before? Is the message, does it have the same effect to motivate these guys? And have they taken the Liverpool, the mentality monsters title, certain, you know, things for granted, as in they think that they can get away with like maybe a 75-80% performance against a team like Leeds? Oh, it'll come, because we got used to getting out of jail a lot of the time if we don't start well in games. So the mentality for me needs to be questioned in the players, and is the message being diluted? And because he alluded to it in one of his press conferences, he said that once you play this system, he goes, then the desire for the details is lost when you play it for such a long time. And for me, I agree with him that's why I was happy with Mane going finding some new motivation in another club, another system, new environment. You have to be motivated in that situation, because you don't know anyone. There's no comfort zone. You have to either swim or you'll drown in that kind of situation. Here, there's a lot of guys. For me, they got their towels at the beach, relaxing. They got too comfortable. For me, that's what I'm thinking.
Zuberi.
Hey, before I start, I want people to know this guy's question has been my energy. It's not a clap out thing, but I was just saying, can we ask him some questions? Is he above reproach? And I'm saying one clap, man. Nah, seriously, one clap. You're the manager of this thing. We need you to come out with the same passion and hold these men accountable. When I'm saying dropping Trent, the fans will say, nah, but Trent this, Trent that. Nah, one clap, man. He's too comfortable. He is so comfortable. He feel like the fan will embrace him. Fans are putting Klopp over the owners. Do you know how mad that is? I cannot bring you in and cut your check, and because of the work you're doing, people say get rid of me. That's bro. That's not even heard of. That's unheard of. He's wedged himself in our community and in our hearts, and he's done some things to warrant that. But nah, man, you need to go again. And if you can't go again, you need to move on. You need to do something else. I need you to see you switch it up. Do something else, because now the questions, they're warranted. We're not saying Klopp out, but now the questions are warranted. Now we can ask you questions based on the things you're saying, based on the things we're seeing. It's not about Klopp out, FSG out, Klopp in, or FSG in. It's, bro, for the longest, we weren't even looking at you like you're the problem. But now it's looking like you're the problem. You have questions to ask the owners, and you have questions from the fans you need to answer. And the only thing I'll back him on, he's going into these press conference and he's asking stupid questions. He's asking stupid questions. I think they should get some fans in there so the fans can ask their manager, bro, what's going on? Where do we go from here? Because I'm tired of people going up to him and trying to do the bar mitzvah thing and raise him in the hair. Nah, man, he needs to sit down, man, and figure out what's going on. If he needs to go on a timeout in the World Cup, he needs to take a break. I don't know what it is, but he needs to be accountable. It's not about Klopp out, but yo, Klopp, you need to fix up, because right now you're the manager. No one go into Mickey D's or them fast food places and call for the owner of the franchise. They call for the manager. No one goes in there, and be like, let me talk to the CEO of McDonald's. Not about like, yo, who's the manager of this joint? He's the manager. He's responsible for the backroom staff, the coaches. He is the guy. So we should be shooting at him before we go for the owners. I don't care if the owners don't give him the ammunition. Klopp is secured, and he's so secured, he's comfortable, and that complacency creeps in. Klopp is complacent, and the player is complacent because the players are also comfortable. We have a lot of comfortable men here that's just very fine with showing up to training, taking a few pics, putting on the kicks, and taking a few pics and doing the social media PR, and they're not really producing. We didn't bring people in for PR move. I'm pretty sure they can get somebody off this panel to do that. We need players in to perform on the field. You ain't performing, manager. Why isn't he performing? Is he good enough? Yes or no? You know what he said? These players are good enough to go again. We have world-class midfielders. World-class midfielders are always available.
Kev, I told you it's going to have three different. So Noor's come with an angle. Zuberi's come with his angle. Let's get the Kev take.
Is Klopp getting away with it? I think he is getting away with it, because the injuries, I accept, will cost us a title this season. I've said it before. The players that we've had remaining, do not tell me they're not good enough to beat Leeds at home and Forest away. Do not tell me that they're not good enough to get in the top four, because they are. You cannot claim, right, back in April that we had the best squad we've had in years and go for 4 titles and the best squad depth, and then get to now and tell me that this team should be finishing 10th. I won't accept it. So if we look at any other club that would be in our situation, we would say, we'll be asking questions like, are the players still playing for the manager? Is the manager's tactics right? This and that. And we ultimately, whether we decide it's the players that are at fault or the manager's at fault, the book stops with the manager. We're not doing it here as Liverpool fans because Klopp has so much credit in the bank. But if it was any other club, it would be questioning the manager. Is he still the right man for the job? That's the situation we're in. It hurts to say because we love the guy, but that's the truth. And look, I'm quite happy with him not getting the blame he quite should. And a lot of people talking about FSG, because the one thing I don't need is more pressure on Klopp. This is the second crisis I would say he's been in now at his time at Liverpool. And I tell you what's been similar in both situations. And the other one I'm referring to is the defensive issues we had at centre back couple of years back. is when Klopp's put under pressure, he starts making mad decisions. And instead of focusing on the tasks in hand, he starts doing crazy things here, there, and everywhere. And so I don't think this guy, I mean, he always has to deal with pressure as a Liverpool manager, of course. But when he gets these situations, he seems to do some crazy stuff. So I'm perfectly fine with the chat all being on FSG, the lack of investment and stuff, because I don't want this guy to just walk away because it gets too much in an isolated situation. Because I do believe that the World Cup will provide him with a bit of time to recalibrate and reassess and go fresh again. And then we've just got half a season to get through, and we see where we are in the summer. We see what investment does to him and the squad. And then we can ask the questions again, is this the guy that we still believe in? But right now, I don't need any more pressure on this man because he'll start making more wild decisions than he already is.
Interesting take. Has, what you make of the takes, and what's your take? We ask you, we reverse your question on you now. So you give us your thesis.
Now my take on it is obviously I don't think it's just one person to solely blame. My frustrations I have with Klopp is more to do with he was pretty adamant that we were fine. We don't need a midfielder. You know, now he's coming out and saying we had injuries, but in 2020, that season when we had the centre back crisis, and we knew we needed a centre back, I kind of gave Klopp a oblige. I thought, you know what, we've got all our centre backs injured. It's one of those seasons, but it won't wash with me those excuses from Klopp, because we know Naby, Ox, you know, even Fabinho, Henderson, they're getting injuries. Thiago, we saw this coming. It's not hindsight. Anyone could see with a bit of foresight that we were going into the season with midfielders that aren't, you know, they're not ready to play 38 games. We can't rely on any of our midfielders to play 30 games in a season in a league. So for me to see that, then the buck will stop with Klopp. I'm not saying he should lose his job or anything, but if we don't challenge Man City, it is down to Klopp's decisions whether he chooses to sign a midfielder or not. And going back to obviously FSG, FSG are, you know, they're the main like people in charge. So, you know, I see a lot of chat. We need Bellingham and etc. That's a big chatter amongst the Liverpool fan base. I think there's no chance we sign Bellingham. Honestly, I think Liverpool fans that are hoping we sign someone like a Bellingham, I think it's not happening. From what I see, there's no way we sign a player like Bellingham. There's too many clubs in for him. I may be proven wrong. If we sign someone like Bellingham, we'll see. I just don't see it. It's not in our makeup to go buy a player like that. I don't even want Jude personally, because if we sign Jude, it would probably mean we've spent all our money on a midfielder, which I think we need 2, 3, 4 midfielders, because we're at that stage where if we did sign Bellingham, I don't think he fixes anything really. He'll improve us, don't get me wrong, but it's got to a point where we need maybe 2, 3, and if we sign Bellingham and that means we don't sign anyone else, then I don't want Jude personally. I'd rather sign like 3 midfielders and kind of fix that situation. But yeah, I mean, for me, it's kind of I don't just blame FSG or Klopp. I think it's both of them, and I think
it's always when you win, it's a collective. When you lose, it's a collective. It's always is. When we were winning, or when we were successful. Even last season was a success overall. Let's not get it twisted. It was a success. That's a success for 95% of teams in the world, right? You went to 4 competitions, you win 2 of them, and the other 2 you miss out. Just that's 95% of teams would take that. So when things are going well, you start praising the recruitment, the medical team, the throw-in coach, the dinner lady, the nutritionist. Yeah, hey Carol. Yeah, Carol makes amazing dinners that the players love. You know, everyone, even Cambridge and Oxford are looking for dinner ladies like Carol suddenly. Do you know what I mean? It's like everybody wants these people that Liverpool have got. Do you remember? So that's how it works. Yeah. And the moment you have a rough patch like we're having, and it's okay, it's more than a rough patch now. Okay, it's more than a rough patch. It's a nasty mid-season crisis. Or I don't know if we're not even mid-season yet. Early season crisis, fully blown early season crisis. Then I think Cab mentioned earlier that it's a whirlwind, and you start picking out everything and anything, and you start scrutinizing and analyzing and looking for every single grain of fault. And I don't know how because we haven't been in this position much to know how you get out of this and how you halt it or stop it. Try to stop the damage limitation first and foremost, and then try to repair what's smashed up by this whirlwind. So you're right. I don't know how we go about it. I guess the instant fix as a fan would be transfers.
Yeah.
But what does Klopp say? And this is what's the frustrating part.
Training
Having
is
a
our
manager like
transfers.
this is it. You said it. Because you know you're a knowledgeable Liverpool fan. That's been studying our manager. That's been listening to this manager. That's been trusting his process and his words because he's elevated us and he's took us here. But now we're saying, yo, Jurgen, even you don't know what to do next because you haven't got experience of this stage. The only experience you had was at Dortmund, and you didn't duck, but you took time out.
Yeah.
That adds to part of our fears, actually, isn't it? Because, like you say, he took time out and he went away from football and cleared his head. And I'll tell you what, if I could put a pause on time at the minute and let him go do that, I absolutely would. You know what? If someone said to me that Klopp's going to take the rest of the season off, but he'll come back next year, I'll be a bit like, okay, I could see some reasoning behind that. You know, it would never happen, but you know, that's it. Just at times you just see him in interviews and stuff, and the decisions he makes, and you're just like, wow, this guy needs a break. You know, he just needs to clear his head again. Because when you got a fresh Klopp that's punching the Klopp and energized and stuff, it lifts everybody. But when Klopp's not lifted, Jesus, it feels low, doesn't it?
So if Klopp is feeling that, imagine the players. They feed off his energy, and if his energy is that kind of energy that he's portraying to them, then we shouldn't wonder why the players are playing like this.
And in fairness to him today, right, just focusing on today's game, how bad was almost every single player out on that pitch? And I'm talking about basics. And I did feel sorry for Klopp at some points because I was a bit like, there's only so much he can do. Like when people can't string a pass together or the first touch is bouncing off their head and stuff, you know, they
pretty
can't
much to a man.
Yeah,
pretty much to a man.
I
don't know, guys. Was there anyone above 50-60% apart from Robbo? Even Alisson today. Like the highlight's going to be, all the emphasis is going to be on Joe Gomez, right? Because you don't play a blind pass, regardless. You don't play a blind pass. But as a keeper, you're bellowing instructions there, bro. You're communicating. As you're coming out, you're saying, I'm right here. I'm right here. You keep talking to him because he's under control as far as you think. You're the one who's making him lose control by coming out of your area. He's in control. He thinks you're in your place. He's in control. He's going to do what he does 9 times out of 10. You vacate your area. You got to tell him, I'm not, you got to tell him where you are. So yes, it was Gomez's fault. But even Alisson's decision-making, I don't know, guys. It's true. Where do you start? The blame game has to be with you're right, Kev. Like if that, I didn't hear that commentary about what you were saying about he was shouting at Fabinho and apparently Fabinho wasn't even listening.
Yeah. But the thing is, Grizz, like,
that's horrible.
Take the goals conceded aside, even take the opportunities we had aside, and evaluate the remaining 70 minutes of play that Liverpool put out on that pitch. It's not good. Even Thiago was giving the ball away. Fabinho's giving the ball away. Gomez is giving the ball away. Trent is. And like, there's only so much that Klopp can do. So he's at fault for some of it. But like, and he even alluded to it in a press conference a few weeks back where he said, our levels dropped, but I didn't realize how many levels we'd actually gone down. So he said when he was trying to correct things, he was focusing on tactics and intricacies, but actually he didn't realize that he needed to go back to some very basics. And it's quite true in what he was saying, because when you look at today's game, like a pass would be played into somebody like Fabinho, and where his first touch and his body shape should be like, right, on to the next pass. Take one touch.
Not for 6 months he ain't been, Cav. For 6 months he ain't been.
I use it for an example though. Yeah, his first touch, the ball literally bounces up to his
bounces
head.
up.
You're just like, tempo gone, dead. And then the next pass is like a 50-50 between our player and a Leeds player. That's not good enough. You know, a simple through ball that Elliott tried to play. He had Nunes as an option and Salah as an option, and he literally passed it to the Leeds man in between. Like Klopp must be pulling his hair out in some moments, thinking, Jesus Christ, lads, like just do the very basics. And I said to you the other week, Liverpool don't need to be incredible to beat these teams. They just need to play basic football, and they'd have won. So, like, there is a lot of blame that needs to be put on the players as well.
Yeah, that was my argument previously on another call, and the only defense I give Klopp, you know, he does have his moments and his tactics, and I think the biggest nail in his coffin will always be Naby, and it's not to blame him. I know he didn't play, I know he's not available, but there was a moment when Klopp listened to everyone he had at his disposal to be patient with him, nurture him, get the right people around this guy, bubble wrap him. And when he came in that Real Madrid game and Klopp was like, yeah, nah, he's ready. We've done everything. We've dotted all the I's, crossed all the T's. And for 25 minutes, he got injured, or 35 minutes. And I remember just seeing Klopp on the sideline like, this is mission impossible. This is unreal. I've taken every precaution, and the guy's 100% back. I said he's 100% back yesterday, and he never made it 30 minutes. And I just remember him standing on the sideline. He was so dazed. Lindes was like trying to get his attention. Like, bro, if you guys go back and watch that Naby moment, you'll know what I'm talking about. So every time he's come out and he's like defended his players and he's backed his players, and he's not really doing a lot wrong, you know. It's just there's actually a disconnect between what he's doing and what he's getting. And I'm just seeing him standing on the sideline like, I don't know what. It was like, it's like, bro, what are you players not doing or getting right? So when he's coming out and he's talking about the basics got overlooked, as a manager coaching the same team for this long, that's not something you should be focusing on. We're talking accountability on the pitch.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Hus, thank you very much for calling in again, my friend. Was there anything else that you wanted to touch upon before we keep it moving?
Not really. I mean, I've covered it all. I just think there's a big job on our hands now. And regarding FSG, they've got to go prove me wrong and just go back Klopp, go by Bellingham if that's what's going to happen. Do it in first week of January. We need 2 signings, in my opinion, 2 midfielders. No messing around, no Arthur type signings, no Kabaks. We need the real deal, and Klopp can only do that if, you know, FSG supposedly are going to back him. So then we'll see.
Interesting times ahead. I guess that's the least negative way of saying it.
I'm not holding my breath on it, but we'll see. We'll see.
Ross, can I ask you a question?
Sure.
You look familiar. You from Camden?
Nah, never been there.
All right, cool.
There you go. All right.
Anyway, take care, guys.
Look after yourself. Thank you very much.
Very cool. Take care. Take care. Bye.
Yo, what's good says, here's my take. Under Klopp, we take too many high-risk passes. I personally think that the coaching staff, and I think we kick balls down wings too much. Yeah, like, who one of you guys talked about it? I think, Nuri, was you. Like, it's hot potato, and then the 4th, 5th one is in the channel. When the fuck did we play like this? When did we ever play like this? I used to love watching the way we create triangles in every area of the pitch and don't let teams out and circulate the ball, because that's what Ginny was king at, because that's what Fabinho was king at, and that's what even Jordan Henderson was king at. Just keeping it circulating. Now we're asking Henderson and Fabinho 3-4 years later to become controllers in the middle of the pitch, bring the ball down. They haven't been doing this for years.
To be fair, Grizz, when you're playing the triangles, you have to be athletic in your lateral movement to lay it off and keep going.
I hear you.
I'm seeing man stumble over in the lateral movements. I'm seeing man falling over, just barging into opposition players like they lack the agility to create this, to get into the space and form these triangles. There's not a lot of triangles on the pitch.
100% agreed.
Because they're not asking for the ball. Have you guys noticed in midfield? You'll see what's his name, Van Dijk or Gomez have the ball around the back, and then there's no one dropping in to come and collect, and then
Actually,
another one.
there's one player doing it, and I'll say two, but it's mainly one person doing it, and that's why he's getting slated. Jones is the only one doing it, and that's
But
the only positive thing he's doing with it.
The only problem with Jones is I love Jones because I remember last year we beat Porto away 5-0, 5-1 or something.
Mm-hmm.
When we this guy, he's got so much talent as in to carry the ball and to not be phased with people around him while he's holding on to the ball. However, he lacks he's very indecisive in what he needs to do. You either pop it off or start again. If you haven't got options, you start again, but he dwells on it a bit too long for me. And has he really improved since he made his debut? Has he really made like big stride? How old is he now? 22? 21?
Might be 21 going 22. That's my argument against Klopp. He should have been further in development. I don't think he's developed any. And if he is, like I said, him showing for the ball, it's a good attribute. That's something you and your players do. And he's actually running some triangles, little 1-2s here and there, but no one else is doing it, to your point. Thiago does it, but then once Thiago does it, his option then becomes, no one is doing this 1-2 with me. Let me go wide. Let me go around the game. So we're playing around the game. Rarely we play through the pitch,
The issue with when Thiago has it, he's the only one that disguises his intention or disguises his pass. None of the other players, they give off this obvious, I'm going that way.
So obvious.
That you hit the nail on the head with that. We might as well just tell people what we're doing before we do it in terms of body shape. Absolutely.
Yo, we're gonna go to Virgil. Robert's gonna cut back in, give it to Virgil. Yo, check this out. Then he's gonna give it to Gomez, and Gomez is gonna open up his body and slide it to Trent every single time. And you know what, guys? Today the computer says he's gonna do it 50% of the time only. The other 50% is gonna go to the opposition or out of play.
Why do you think Matip has so much success in dribbling? He opens his body up to potential pass to Trent, cuts in, and he goes on his drive, and then he'll fake here and continue. This is what you need. Like, you need some unpredictability in the team, and these guys are becoming way too predictable for my liking.
We've got a couple of callers. We got a couple of callers. Omar and Jordan are going to be next. Sandeep, if you got a camera, then you'll be able to come on, my friend. I've tried to message you in the chat. Let's bring on Omar. Omar, where are you calling from, and what would you like to speak about, my friend?
Hey, guys.
Hi, mate.
Hi, Omar.
Yeah, I'm from Kenya, Africa. I'm a huge fan of the channel. I love what you guys are doing.
Thank you very much, man. You're very welcome.
Yeah, I think
you're gonna have to put the sound down in the background, my friend, because there's an echo, and then you're gonna get confused.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah, I think I'll be quick with my points. I think
no problem, sir.
I once saw a motivational speaker, and he was saying stupidity is constantly doing the same thing over and over and expecting the same results. And I feel like that is what Klopp has been doing over the last 5-6 years. I mean, look at our squad. The last 5 years is pretty much the same. The only addition we have is Nunes. And look at Man City, what Man City have been doing to the squad. I mean, Pep has been trying so hard to win the Champions League, but he has been failing because he realized that he needed a striker, somebody who can get him like goals in tight games, because he needed that spark in his front line. And he went and got Haaland, and look at how good Man City are playing right now. I mean, I'm really worried for our team because, yes, we say Mane has left, blah, 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 Mane, but I don't think Mane could be helping us defend in these situations, to be honest, because we are so poor defensively. We are so much, we're leaking so much goals. I mean, I can't even recognize the team I'm watching. I can't even wear a Liverpool jersey anymore because it's horrendous, to be fair. But people are talking of Bellingham coming probably in the summer, because I don't think in the January it will make sense. But I'd rather we use that money, because Bellingham could cost what, like 150 million quid. But I mean, we could use that money to get like what, 3 midfielders, which could really help our squad, because I feel like we are really struggling in that area. Fabinho, man, he's washed. It doesn't look like he's 28. It looks like 35, man. Milner should be like a manager or something in the technical bench. I mean, with all due respect to what he has done to the club, I feel like Milner should at least leave other players to come in. As in, we so much need some young talent in the squad. I think the last thing I should talk about is we really need refreshments in the squad because players are complacent, players are too comfortable. I mean, look at Van Dijk. Van Dijk knows for a fact that there is no player in that squad who's going to replace him. Salah the same. I mean, we have players who are sure that they're never going to be dropped. I mean, Firmino at this point also knows he can never be dropped. Look at Trent. And I mean, we have players who are so comfortable in their positions, and we need players who can come in and fight them for that spot. Because look at what Kepa has done in Chelsea. I mean, that man was out of the squad. Was supposed to be sold, I think, to Napoli or somewhere. But the guy was fighting for his place because Mendy was giving him competition. Look at Luke Shaw at Manchester. We are looking at Malacia, who was brought in, and now Shaw is playing like one of his best football. I mean, I think at Liverpool, we need that kind of difference in our squad, whereby we have substitutes who can actually come and fight for the numbers. I mean, even Van Dijk should be worried about his number. I mean, I think what do you guys think? I'm not sure.
No,
I'm not sure.
Sorry, let the guys. Zaberi?
Yeah, no, I'll back your point, man. And like I said, it starts from the fans to the top. But unfortunately, the only people that aren't sure and are worried is the fans. The owners, very comfortable owners, you know. Manager, he ain't even worried. You know, his number 2 definitely ain't worried. He dropped a book.
I think now though, I think now they will be. Now I think the seeds of doubt have been planted for the first time. I think.
Yeah, I've been trying to plant them seeds for the longest.
I know you have.
I've been trying to plant because I see it. And I'm telling you, the leading cause of death for most soldiers outside of suicide in war, and I've been there twice, is complacency. When you're complacent, things like this happen. How are you going to tell me you have a squad full of professionals and you're talking about you drop the ball on basics like controlling the ball, hitting a pass, coming up with tactics, preparing your squad specifically for the team you're playing against, not just setting up your squad and saying this is it and hit simulate at the end of the season. Like, so that's what I think is going on. I think a lot of people are comfortable, and it's not just players, it's also manager and ownership. And the only people that are not comfortable is us, the fans. We're sitting there very uncomfortable. I haven't worn my Virgil van Dijk kit all season. I had no reason to put it on. And the one day I'm like, yeah, I'm going to put this on. The next day, there was literally a meme of his backside hanging out on the internet.
Omar, we're running real late, man. You've made some good points. Thank you very much for coming on, my friend. Take care.
Thank you, guys.
Look after yourself.
Take care too.
Bye-bye. Just 2 callers left, guys. Sandeep and Jordan, you'll be after Sandeep, and then we're going to call it a night. Okay, Sandeep. Hope you're well, my friend. I know you haven't got a camera, but I was speaking to you in the chat, so it's all good. How are you?
I'm doing good, Grizz. Firstly, I'm a big fan of your channel and the way you dissect the game. I think all you guys do fantastic job. I'm calling
appreciate the kind words. Thank you.
I'm calling from United States, from Atlanta. I'm a fan of Chelsea, but I would say, unfortunately, my fan base is not as balanced and as knowledgeable like you guys do. And I'm saying this honestly, you know. I enjoy watching your channel, and you guys are always practical and speak out the facts about your team. So that is very good.
Not all our fan bases as these are some of the finest guys that I've picked and chosen and been watching their comments and views. So Sandeep, trust me, every fan base has how would we describe them, guys? Looney Tunes, Looney Pots, extremists, of either option of any opinion. Because we discussed this the other day. I believe that any form of extremism is mad. You shouldn't have any form of extremism. It's just not good in any shape, way, life, sport, anything. And that's what you get. We try to keep it balanced. Sometimes we can't because we're humans. You know, sometimes we have emotions that run over. But really appreciate the kind words. Thank you, sir.
Yep. So coming to Liverpool, I this is my opinion. Honestly, I don't think you guys are in a crisis. I do think this is a bit of overreaction from my perspective. I think there are a couple of factors that are making Liverpool play like the way they are doing right now, and it's just a matter of time before they're back to their best. That is my thinking. Uh, I still do think there are four big teams that are behind Liverpool, and they are Arsenal. I know Arsenal is doing great right now, but the inexperience of Arteta and the team will definitely make them fall down. We are not seeing that, but we will see that when they face their first crisis. Chelsea, yeah, I mean, Graham Potter, everyone says that he's a fantastic manager. I can see because he has come up from the grassroots level. He has got like good experience like managing different teams from lower levels. That is great. But Chelsea is another level. The kind of players in that club are another level. So managing them, I don't know, like there's a bit of uncertainty. So even they are behind Liverpool, in my opinion. When I'm looking at long term, I feel Arsenal, Chelsea, and even Tottenham. I think the kind of play or the kind of tactics which Conte believes in, I think it is not sustainable in this modern era. I don't think it is sustainable. I know he has a great track record. Wherever he went, he won, but he has to evolve. I don't think his tactics are something which are suitable for Premier League in 2022. And Manchester United, that is a one team I would say has a good resources to go level up from where they are last season. I think Ten Hag is a great manager, and also they have a very good squad. So at the end of the season, I still do believe that Man City and Liverpool are going to be the top two teams. I still do believe that. And I think Manchester United will be close to them, probably in third spot, followed by other teams. That is how I look at it. If Klopp can get a couple of players in January window of his choice, then that will be even more better for Liverpool. Yeah, and I think it's just a matter of fatigue. People carrying that fatigue from the last season, and also if Klopp can do a slight tweaks, in some games, like adopting his tactics based on the opposition, that will be great. Instead of going with the same philosophy every single time, if we can do those minor modifications, sometimes sitting back and giving the position to the other team, and doing those kind of small ticks will be great as well. Yeah, these are the points I have, Chris. Yeah,
Sandeep, thank you very much for making those points, man. Pleasure speaking to you. We will try to see what the guys think of that. And thank you very much for calling in, my friend.
Yeah,
take care. Bye. Sometimes if you get an opinion from the outside, sometimes it can make you think, really? But even me, I'm not seeing it like that, guys. I don't know what you guys think.
Yeah, big disagreement for me, I like this strategy. He came in, sweet words, felt from the heart. I really appreciated, warmed my soul, the first 2 minutes. And then he just basically just saying what everyone from outside is saying. And I don't like that. Whether it's the truth or not, I'm denying it. I don't think we're a couple signings away. I don't think Klopp needs new players. He needs these players to listen to him. And you can't add fresh fruit with a bunch of bad vegetables or bad fruits. So
if some players are not listening to him, and there's a very strong case now, guys, that this could be true, then he does need a few new faces to bury.
But how the new faces going to get the people not listening to him now to start listening to him again?
So check this out. Who's been our best 4 or 5 players last 6 months or whatever? Who's been our best players? Name them.
I actually just want to start with this season. I don't even want to use credit from last season. So this season, I'll go Harvey. I'll go Bobby. Ali, definitely. And from there,
can't do 6.
You can't do 6. Yeah.
I can't say Diaz because he's not on the pitch, and I can't say.
Why not? You can say Diaz.
All right, so let me say.
It's either the new guys, or like when I say new guys, last 2, 3, or 4 windows, or the guys that have played the least. They've been our best players, guys.
And obviously, Ali being a keeper is a different conversation. Obviously, he's not an outfield player. Yeah.
So Bobby, Nunes, Diaz, Jota when he stepped in, Elliot.
Oh, I
Fits
see
the
what you
argument,
did there.
doesn't
So the core of the pillar that the success was
spine
built
is
upon. Yeah. It's expired. Yeah.
it's expired.
Yeah.
The thing is, I can see where rival fans would look at our games and say that we're not too far off and have like a bit of a better opinion than us fans. It's because it is true when Klopp comes out and says, "Oh, we had chances in the game. Like we were the better team. We could have won it." Like there has been games where, we Forest, we were out of the two sides probably better, but not for our standards.
Yeah.
But both teams were bad. We were arguably a tad bit better, but we're not happy with that. But like we always had we've been scoring goals and we've had chances to score goals to win the game. So I can see why rivals watching our games or possibly watching highlights are going, "Oh, this Liverpool team, they're just not taking their chances." But Grizz, ironically, who did we say that about?
Yep.
We were talking about in our preview to the Leeds game, we were saying, "Oh, you're only losing by one goal, or you're missing out. You conceded in the last 20 or in the last minute or so." But it's a funny argument because we're saying it doesn't seem that bad, but then they're in the bottom three and on 9 points, and we're like, the manager's, probably going to get the chop. But you look at the games and they don't look too bad. I wonder if that's how people are looking at us. But for us, looking at ourselves,
Let's get the last caller in of the night, guys. The rest of you, I'm so sorry. We've been going on for 3 hours now. I must let these guys go. So we're gonna get one more call. I'm so sorry, the other guys. I'm gonna have to remove you from the studio. Jordan, welcome to the stream, my friend. Hope you're keeping well.
Yeah, man, I'm doing well, man. Thanks for letting me come on.
You're welcome, bro.
Biggest topic I want to look at is, I know everybody's just looking at, this game and things like that. But for me, just something hasn't been right for the past 3 seasons, for me, especially in that midfield. If you compare it to that 17-18, 18-19, and 19-20 seasons, I mean, we had guys that just had bags of energy, athletic, could always get to that ball first. I mean, after we won the Premier League, the levels just started to drop. It didn't drop significantly to where I don't think a lot of people noticed it, but I played midfield, growing up. So you can just tell when something's not right. You're like, the energies aren't there and things like that. And Klopp's teams at his best, that midfield is the engine room. That's where the press stops. That stops like the counterattacks, that initiates the attack. And when that starts falling down, then that puts more of a workload on your forwards to do more work and your defense. So for me, that midfield should have been addressed the season after we won the league. Not just with getting Thiago. I felt like we needed probably 2 or 3 more midfielders to come in. I get Naby, was having a good season. Ox was coming back. But after that ACL injury, Ox's game should have went down. That was an injury that, for me, I didn't think he was going to recover from, after that. He was, 25 at the time? Your body doesn't really recover from ACL injuries like that, especially his bad one from there. Naby's just not somebody who can be relied on. He's proved that. For me, he should have left in the summer, but, that's neither here nor there. So my overall thing is, where's the planning coming from between Klopp and the owners and the sporting director? Because, I live here in the States, in case y'all can't see. Your general manager has a big input on how to build that team. And your coach, when those players come in, your coach is supposed to be the one that brings those pieces together and make it work. And I think that's why Edwards left, because he didn't have those points to, bring in new blood into the squad. So that tells me, when he left, there's big problems going on between the communication between those 3 departments. So I guess I just want to get y'all's thoughts on, on that, because now we're seeing everything happen out. Because this summer, last year we played 64 games in total. I've never seen a team play that many games ever. Even the great Barcelona teams, I don't remember them playing that many games, in the season. And when you play that many games, those players are going to be tired. It's a short season, the World Cup, interrupts things going on. So we should have invested in players that can help refresh it and keep everything going. And the fact that we didn't do that, it's not looking
paying
great.
for it. We're paying for it. We're literally paying for it.
Right, and that's decisions that Klopp, whoever is a part of that decision making, they need to take the blame for that. And I get it, the players too, but if you're tired, you're tired. There's not there's not much you can do about that. You have to rest, and I think these players are just tired. That's why we always see the inconsistent performances from there. And now, because in January, I think we need like 3 or 4 players to come in. I think we need new midfielders for sure. I think we need another right back. If Calvin Ramsey's not the guy, then we need to go get somebody, because Trent for me, he's too unreliable defensively. We need to figure out another position for Trent, whether that's push him in midfield or further forward, closer to goal. That's that's Klopp's thing. He has to figure that out. I'm not saying get rid of Trent, but we just got to figure out another position for him, because the right back position isn't for him. And I think we need another backup, in the attack, whether that's a winger or another central or another forward. Somebody has to come in and help share the goal load from there, because the season I think of that was the best was that 17-18 season when the whole team was getting goals. I know Mo and Firmino were the starlets of that team, but Mane was showing up with big goals in Europe. Ox was coming with goals in midfield in that season before he got hurt. Even Genie was contributing a little bit. The goals were shared in that team. And I think, if we can address those issues, I think we're fine. But I just think the planning has just been poor, for the last few seasons. So I'll let y'all chop that up, man.
No, 100%, bro, 100%. Guys, this is going to be the final caller. So let's get the stream up to 1,000 likes, our record amount of likes on a night like this. Amazing. But this is what it is. We're only about 25 short, so still 700 of you in here. I'm sure a couple of you haven't liked this. Okay, let's get that to 1,000 likes. Jordan's made some brilliant points. Noor, what are you saying, man?
Yeah, no, totally agree with him. But I want you guys to let's think back, right? He's right about these players being tired mentally and physically, because from January onward, correct me if I'm wrong, we played the Carabao Cup final and it went to extra time.
Mm-hmm.
Then we had to catch City up with trying to make no mistakes. So every game was practically a final. Then we were playing in the Champions League, couldn't make no mistakes to get to that final. Then we played the FA Cup final, took that to extra time and won it on penalties. Then on the final day of the season, we had to worry about what was going on at City and in our game. And then we had to play a Champions League final where we were the better team. But unfortunately, the goalkeeper had a wonderful game. Put all of this together, I think it's taking its toll. I could just imagine the players during that period, neglecting family and saying, listen, I got to concentrate on this. I need my sleep. I need my rest. I need to eat properly. And then when all of that was done, they just need a break mentally. Like, I can never put myself in that situation. But to have focus and concentration for that long, that many games, to try and not make any errors, I think we need to give them like an excuse, and that would be a valid one for me.
Zuberi?
Jordan, where you calling from before I give my point of view?
Yeah, man, I'm calling from here in South Carolina, Columbia.
Oh, Columbia, South Carolina. All right, shout out to you in South Carolina, man. I'm in New York right now. Appreciate the American callers calling in today. As to your point,
I appreciate the American coach doing one over us as well today.
I didn't want to go that far, Grizz. Come on, you ruined it. I was trying to be subtle with it. But yeah, as far as your points and strengthening from a position of strength, the world outside Liverpool and the coaching staff and the players knew that and saw that. But when we went again, they're like, oh, raw, we thought, they needed to straighten up, but they went again. And then we keep going again. And people are like, wait, normally you strengthen from a position of strength, but these guys, they keep going and keep going and keep going. And at some point, it was going to give. Unfortunately, it's the back of playing 64 games at the end of the season. And it's not looking good. We're all going to go back to when we almost won the Champions League before we won the Premier League. So it's going back to these different things. And We have to just call it what it is. It's a combination of everything. Players not leaving, not moving on players, not selling the right players in the right moments. It's a combination of a lot of things. And I think we do not have a footballing director. We need a middleman to stand in between the owners and Klopp, and we need that person to be the right guy. I don't think that is a seat that's available at Liverpool, and if it isn't, that's a seat that needs to be available now. If that was the job Michael Edwards was promised, he needs to be in there now. If that's the job Klopp was promised after he's finished with his managerial tenure, Klopp needs to go sit in that seat now. So I think that is the missing piece to what's happening at Liverpool. We do not have a football director directs the direction of the football club. No one on this panel on this screen right now can tell me the direction of our club, and that is not good.
Cav, final say.
Just on the point regarding the players' tiredness and fatigue and possible hangover from last season, it's true what you say. We played 60 plus games last season, which is crazy, but that's the price you pay for success or getting close to success. If you and I invite everybody to have a look into this. Have a look at the amount of minutes that the players played last season and have a look at the amount of games they played and compare it to the people we're competing with. It's not a lot more. I'm telling you now because I had a look at it, right? And on average, our midfielders played 3,500 to 4,000 minutes last season, which equates to about 40 to 45 games. Okay. And if you look at somebody like Virgil, who's the guy that I think plays week in, week out, plays all the time, he only played, he played 51 games last season. And then go look at Man City and look at Kevin De Bruyne and Bernardo Silva and Gundogan. The numbers are similar. So the point I'm trying to raise here is it's not necessarily the amount of games and the amount of minutes, it's the intensity. It's what you're being asked to do in them minutes. And I think this is where the disconnect has failed us, in that if Klopp wants to continue to harness the power of Anfield and the power of the fans, and he wants to use all of that and have this high pressing, high intensity attacking team, that's great. But you need to be in communication with the recruitment team in saying that I need fresh legs to sustain it. And that's where the trick's been missed. And this is where Pep Guardiola has managed to sustain his success. Yes, he's got financial backing. He can refresh that. But his style is at such a lower tempo that we all say Man City are so boring to watch. But it will be effective because them guys will play the same amount of minutes than us. But their minutes are so much easier than ours. So maybe we just need to evaluate what our style is going to be moving forward and link that up with our transfers. And then hopefully we get that right. We'll have a direction to go in.
Jordan, thank you very much, man, for being the final caller of this marathon therapy call-in show. Hope it was therapeutic for you, man. Was there anything else that you wanted to speak on?
Nah, man, just big up, and I guess we'll go again for Napoli on Tuesday.
We have no choice, brother. We have no choice. Take care of yourself. See you soon.
All right, have a good one.
Bye-bye. Take care. Guys, let me see if we've hit 1K likes, at least some small fucking consolation. Oh, guys, we're 20 short, man. You guys are so cruel, man. 20 short. There's 660 of you now. I'm sure there's 20 of you that haven't liked. 1,000 likes, exactly. And you know what? I wish I could give 2,000 likes each for these guys for accompanying me today, because I told the missus, I got to stream. And she didn't know how I'm going to do this. And I didn't know how I'm going to do this. And, I got Zuberi making his debut. I got Noor making his debut today. I got Cav making his debut. Like 3 guys making their debut in the call-in show. And I thought, what a fucking night to make their debut. Like the lowest of lows. Like we've had lows this season, but today was the pits. And guys, I don't know how we got through this, but we did. Big up all you guys. If you want to say something, say it. Or
Nah, it's
forever
all
keep
love, man.
silence.
I'm honored to be here, to be fair, and even the likes numbers flattering me.
Yo, 8 more, and we got 1,000
And
likes,
that
brother.
is
I mean,
big,
people,
man.
that is big love, man. That is big
It's,
love.
it's big love, and I told you, Grizz, in the back room, you know, like this is the moment. I didn't want it to be like this, but sometimes this is what you need, you know. So now the people know in the highs they have you to be all jolly and me to be all grumpy, and in the low they know they have a good environment, you know, in Nerve Beats and Cav and myself to make them feel welcome and warm. You know, they would leave tonight from this stream, and people, when you leave here tonight, just go cuddle up and know we going again. All right. We're gonna go again because this is what I do best when we're low. I pick the people up. I'm here for the people, you know. But
100%.
don't crucify me when we're winning 7-0 and I'm pointing out the deficiency. That those flaws are why we're in moments like this. So just pay attention, people, and I appreciate it. I'm seeing 1,000 likes from over here. Love to all you guys. Thanks for choosing in. Grizz, thanks for having me. Cav, you know, I have nothing but love and respect for you. Your last point got me humbled, and now I'm gonna have to bring out the pen and paper and think about what you said because it was spot on.
Nah, no bother. Works both ways, man.
100%, exactly. And Noor as well, man. You know what I mean? Bill, I was on holiday. He's got a hell of a competition to step back in his team. This is what I want, bro. I don't want to become like Liverpool. I don't want to become like Liverpool where everyone's comfortable. You understand? So I know Omar's in the chat, and I know Bilal's probably in the chat. But you guys, man, you know what I mean? Watch your back. I got competition in every position. I'm not no Jurgen Klopp. Oh Lord. But guys, thank you very much. Of course, once again, we chatting a bit. People in the chat, thank you very much. This has been a special night of sorts. I don't even know how to describe tonight, man. I don't know how we're feeling, but we're smiling and we're laughing at the end of it. We're healthy, families are good. Liverpool's not right now, but as the last caller said, we have to go again. We have to. We don't just stop supporting. We don't just give up. We have to keep going, and that's what we're going to do as well on this channel as well. Take care, my people. I'm not even going to do an outro. We're going to go straight out. Peace.